Here we go, kids. Let's make this work. Okay. Let's shut the echo off. Thank you for holding in there during the technical aspects of this. Are we good to go, everybody? We are set. Let's do this.
Joe Biden wants to surrender your jobs to China. You know that?
Good luck.
His son walked out with a lot of money for doing nothing, right? He wants to surrender your nation to the radical left-wing mob. He's trying to change now. You know, he's saying that's not working because we're going up and he's dropping like...
He's going on the surrender thing because Biden said that he surrendered to the virus. So...
a rock in water. Dropping like a change now. You know, he's saying that's not working because we're going up and he's dropping like a rock in water.
A rock in water drops more slowly than just dropping a rock in air. Water, it creates friction against the... But, stupid expression. Wait, like my videos? Are the trolls winning? I never look at my likes. I don't care. I don't expect anyone to like me. So it's nice that you guys are here.
And before the China virus, this election was over. Now I had to go back to work, and we've done a great job on it. We don't get the credit. We don't get the credit.
The audio sync is off on the YouTube side. This is not something in my feed. This is, but I do know the sync is off. So don't ask me about it because there's nothing I can do about it.
A lot of governors look very good. But I will keep your jobs in America, and I'll bring rioters, looters.
Wow, something is very wrong with his speech today. Are you guys hearing this like I am? They're not keep your jobs in America. Just listen to this. Something is wrong with this man.
Get the crap. We made a lot of governors look very good. But I will keep your jobs in America, and I'll bring rioters, looters, violent extremists, anarchists. We will bring them to justice. That's what we're doing right now.
Something wrong.
We have over 400 right now under arrest. These are bad people. Over the last 3.5 years, we've secured America's borders, fixed our broken trade deals, rebuilt the United States military, obliterated the ISIS caliphate 100%, secured American energy independence, and built the single greatest economy in the history of the world. And now we're going to do it again. Have to do it again.
We didn't have the strongest economy in the history of the world. We were nowhere close to that.
And it's happening. You see what's happening, job numbers.
I hope God blesses President Trump. I hope God blesses everyone. I think that's sort of universal.
Fast. It's actually happening in a super V. Not a V, it's a super V. And you'll see that.
Not a thing, it's a V. Super V is not a thing.
And big numbers are coming out and have come out. And just watch your set or watch your newspaper. Read your newspaper. You're seeing numbers that, Congressman, we haven't seen those numbers ever before, actually. We've never seen them.
Because we've never taken such a huge hit before. We dropped 33% GDP in one quarter. No one has ever seen anything like that.
By the way, we have record stock markets. We have record everything. You're going to have...
No, we don't. Dow dropped 800 points today. So no, we don't. Pro-life warrior, it's not four fathers. We didn't have four fathers. You're a bot. So, if you grew up in this country, you would know that it isn't four F-O-U-R fathers. So nice try. We are just going to ban you from the channel because you're obviously not from this country. All right, moving on, guys. Forefathers. No, that's not true. There was Lincoln, Washington, Frederick Douglass, and there was John Franklin. Did you just say John Franklin? No. It's just what did you think I said?
You're going to have an incredible economic year next year. Your stocks are going up. Your 401ks are through the roof. Had a little pause today. People wanted to take some profits, and probably somebody said something stupid along the way.
That's what it was.
The stock market's at record levels. Think of it.
It's now not. It now went back below record levels. So, and just imagine, had we not been hit by the coronavirus and perhaps not responded to it as well as we could have, and 200,000 Americans dead, just imagine how good the stock market would be now.
We're rounding the turn on the pandemic. We're rounding that turn. And vaccines are coming along great. You know, that the job that they've done, the doctors, everybody else, we're years ahead of schedule.
What does that mean? Does anybody know what rounding the curve? Remember, it was flattening the curve that we were trying to do because, you know, this. But as far as rounding the curve, is that what he did?
Record levels. Think of it.
Yeah.
In the hopefully rounding the turn on the pandemic.
Rounding the turn.
That turn.
There's no turn on the pandemic. It's a curve, and I don't know what this is happening. So here's your death. Here's your death going up, 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 and then we round it. We come back around underneath, and this is where all those souls are reborn.
And vaccines are coming along great. You know, that
good.
The job that they've done, the doctors, everybody else, we're years ahead of schedule. Anybody else as president, you wouldn't be talking about vaccines for 2 or 3 years from now, I'll tell you right now.
Well, it's science, but okay.
That I can tell you. Biden will never be able to protect your jobs or your family. He is a puppet of the socialists, Marxists, and the cop-hating extremists, and they are cop-hating. And we love our law enforcement. We love our law enforcement.
He's literally working on cutting off funding to law enforcement right now. He's told Seattle, New York, Chicago, Minneapolis that he is going to cut their funding. When you cut the funding to a city, you defund the police. He's literally doing it right now. But yeah, no, it's Biden who's come out and said, no, I'm not for defunding the police. I want to give the police more money. They need it.
And by the way, we have, I don't know if you saw this, if there's any way of you seeing it, we have thousands of people behind this hangar. And we're trying to get them in. And I'd love to get them in. I mean, it's an airport. Let them go to the runways, okay? Let them in.
Let the people stand on the runways.
We have, I mean, literally we landed. I actually thought that was the crowd. You know, we're doing the hangar thing now because the arenas can't do it because of the pandemic for a while, a little while.
Yeah.
But in certain ways, I like this.
Months and months.
It's better. I don't have to travel. I get off the plane, I make a speech, I get the hell out of here, right? Now these are great. You remember the last days before the campaign? I'd do a lot of them a day. Get off that plane. It was a little different campaign. These are great. You remember the last days before the campaign?
The last days before the campaign? What the hell is he talking about? We're a few minutes behind, but if somebody is in the crowd, can you please check on the president?
These are great. You remember the last days before the campaign? I'd do a lot of them a day. Get off that plane. It was a little different plane. It was black and white instead of the blue and white.
Are you talking about the last election? Is that what you're talking about?
But we had some time, and that was an important day, and that was...
What's an important day?
It was an important year, 2016, but I will tell you...
That was an important day and an important year. The last days was an important day? What? He is just not tracking. I don't know that he's going to make it through the end of this.
The election that we have coming up is the single most important election in the history of this country.
Okay.
And we had a level of enthusiasm. I mean, even look today, with all going on, look at the kind of crowds we have. And
significantly smaller crowds than he had when he was doing arenas, by the thousands. Four more fathers, four more fathers, four more...
But we had record enthusiasm in 2016. By the way, was that the greatest evening ever? November. And now it's going to be...
It was not. I can tell you what the greatest evening was. So I'm at this it's a tiki bar, just outside the city boundary of Santa Monica, between Santa Monica and Century City, not far from the Sony studios. Well, in walks a young Brad Pitt. And you know what? I should probably get right back to the...
November 3rd, and we'll keep it going, and we'll get it all like a tree. You move that tree. It takes a little while to plant your tax cuts. They're going to raise your taxes. They're going to take away your guns.
That's how you get it. You plant a tree, and then you move that tree. Because Trump has never actually planted a seed. He just, they dig a hole and they put a tree that's already alive in it, and then the tree dies. This is what happens literally in the White House lawn. The trees die. The tree that he planted with Macron, it died.
It's really, if you look, and they'll criticize me for saying this, fake news.
They criticize me for saying this, fake news. Is it me? Is it me, guys? Has he just been like this lately? I know he's been slurring more and more, and I don't want to make fun of his slur and all that sort of stuff because people get mad at me, but something's going on today. Am I right?
Media, which is back there. With their fake polls, the same as last year. We could just put it all on tape.
The same as last year?
The fake everything. Fake polls, the same as last year. We could just put it all on tape.
What the hell? The same as last year? I'm concerned, guys. I'm honestly concerned at this point. Here, let me do something because I need to track all of this for some reason. Because I've self-appointed myself, which is really the only thing you can do when you self-appoint yourself. Give me a second here, because someone should be... Okay. You guys listen. What was that? Last year at...
The fake polls, the fake everything.
Come on, give me a time. 12:39. Go.
The fake, they're called suppression polls. They're meant to make you depressed. Are you depressed? You don't look depressed. The real numbers, we have the real numbers. We're leading everywhere. We are leading everywhere. I'll tell you, I think we're way ahead of what we were 4 years ago, and there's far more enthusiasm. Our base is bigger, it's stronger, and we've done the greatest job. Again, if we didn't get hit by the plague from China, this thing, we wouldn't have even, between us, I would have canceled, Mr. Congressman, most of the rallies. I wouldn't have needed
Mr. Congressman
a rally. That's a little bit unfair, but that's okay. That's what China's done to our nation. They've screwed us for a long time on a lot of different ways. No, never has anybody ripped off our nation like China. And I've taken in billions and billions of dollars.
Has not taken in any money from China.
We never took in 10 cents from China.
Still haven't.
And I gave $28 billion, right? $28 billion to the farmers because they were targeted unfairly by China, and our farmers are very unhappy. I don't think we have too many farmers in this wonderful Pennsylvania town. I know we have a lot of Boilermakers over there. We got a lot of Boilermakers. I'll be talking about them.
ISA. ISA. Oh, USA.
We're going to be talking about them in a minute, but for the entire summer, Biden was silent as far-left rioters viciously attacked law enforcement in Democrat-run cities all.
He was not. He had condemned the violence many times.
Burned down businesses, terrorized civilians.
And
just recently marched through the streets chanting "Death to America." This is what we have. Death to America.
Did anybody see rioters or protesters chanting "Death to America"? No, there's no money coming in from China, Rubberhead. That's not how tariffs work. Their money is paid by importers. Those are American companies, typically, that pay when it comes in. It makes no sense that someone would send you goods and services and then send you an additional 25% on top of it. Think about it. Why would anyone do that? That would be like going to Safeway or Kroger or whatever the company is that you get your groceries from in Russia and then them giving you 20%. That's just not true, Rubberhead. That's just not the way tariffs work. No, it's just not. That's just not. It makes no sense. Why would if you said, okay, country, if you send us a DVD player we're going to give you $100, but you have to give us $25. That's not how it works at all. Because first off, it's not the countries doing exchange with each other. It's consumers and businesses. The U.S. isn't just giving a bunch of money out of our treasury to China. And that's what Trump believes is happening. So, anyway. But that's just not the way the tariffs work at all. Why would China send us a DVD player for $100 and send us $25 on top of that? They would say, no, we're not going to do that. See? It's just logic.
And by the way, we could end it like immediately. You saw what we did in Wisconsin. It ended. Took a while for the governor. You know, they have to ask us in. It's like otherwise we have to do something much bigger, and it's totally unnecessary. The National Guard's fantastic. I went to see him 2 days ago. Biden went there today. There was nobody there. There was nobody there. He was a little late. I was going to say, hey, listen, we ended that problem, but we could end it in...
Rubberhead, of course the Chinese economy is hurting because of the tariffs. Their GDP last year, they barely met their quota at 6.1% GDP. Do you know what the U.S.'s GDP was in the last quarter? But before the virus, let's take the virus out of it, Rubberhead. Look up the U.S. GDP in the last quarter.
Portland, wise guys in Portland, anarchists. They're agitated.
This is good, Rubberhead. I'm glad you're here because I will show you that you're being lied to. I mean, there are facts, and they're easily found. So the first thing I want you to do is just look up the GDP from the quarter before the pandemic hit. And you'll know because once the pandemic hit, the GDP starts going negative. So just look up GDP by quarter. Just Google it or Bing it or however it is you look things up. And then let me know. China was 6.1. The United States was... Let me know.
They're looters. I'll tell you, we could end it in Portland in a half an hour.
Once he gets to 10 minutes, I'm taking him up on that.
We did it in Seattle. We told them...
By the way, Portland should call in the National Guard. Or the governor of Oregon should call in the National Guard. It's ridiculous that it still hasn't happened.
We're coming in. You either end it or we're coming in. Congressman, we were going in the next day. We were all set. I was actually just...
Then if they have the power to just go on in if they don't end it, then why has it continued on for another month and a half in Portland? Why hasn't he gone in? So after the fact, it's like when I tell my kids, like they do something wrong, and I would tell them, oh man, I wish you hadn't done that. I was going to take you to Disneyland tomorrow. Dad, no! There was no Disneyland trip.
Disappointed, to be honest. They ended it in Seattle. They took over 20% of the city. Do you believe this?
20%? Hold on. We showed this earlier. I'm going to show you guys. This is 20% of the city of Seattle. This is Chop or Chaz. There it is. That little pink spot in the middle. Hold on. Let's see if I can't even make it bigger for you. That's it. You know what I can do is I can stretch that whole screen. Here we go. This is, no, I can't even. Yeah, I was living in Seattle at the time. You guys saw me. I made videos going down there. It was 3 blocks and a soccer pitch. 20% of the city of Seattle. Oh my God, this man is such a freak.
It's going to be a summer of love. These people are crazy.
Yeah, these people are crazy, but this is 20% of Seattle.
So we end them very quickly. And now what we're doing is we're holding back funds.
According to Barr and according to him, they can go in anytime they want. So if they're not going in and people are dying, the blood is on their hands, quite frankly. If they've got the power, they should just do it.
For cities that don't know...
Why does he get that specific? I don't know. It doesn't matter. He just makes things up because he knows his followers, like Rubberhead or whoever was just in here, they're just going to believe anything he says. It's not about reality. It's about feeling good about the way you feel. And that's what life is about, really.
What they're doing where they allow crime to run rampant.
I'm assuming that Rubber Dick is right now checking the GDP that I asked him to, or her. I don't know. Could be a woman. I don't know if they have Google in Russia. I think that they do.
And
Somebody Google that. If you're in Russia, Google if you have Google.
Put a 10-year prison sentence on anybody that knocks down a...
He did not. That law already existed.
statue.
The President of the United States literally cannot write a law that puts people in prison. That would be illegal. He has no power to do that. Yeah, well, the whole thing at random is that he just lies pointlessly. There's just no reason to go the directions that he does.
I took out an old ordinance, a very old one, because today in Congress you don't get things like that. Today they think that you should just have no cash bail. You know, they do the no cash bail. You kill somebody, there's no bail, don't worry about it, go out. But I took out an old ordinance, I gave a...
That is not in any proposal, to let murderers out with no bail. That is not a thing.
New executive order. It says 10 years in prison. And amazingly, that was like 3.5 months ago. And they were having a big march on Washington, march elsewhere. And amazingly, that was the end of the statues coming down.
It was not.
And we're actually prosecuting people for having done it. We made it retroactive to the beginning. Terrible. And by the way, the state statues and monuments, they have to do the same thing.
You can't write a fake law that just mentions an existing law and prosecute someone retroactively because the law already existed.
It's real easy. But the rioters that...
I haven't read the article from Atlantic, guys. I know that it's out there about him calling soldiers losers, veterans who've lost their lives, who've sacrificed for this country. He called them losers, apparently. I haven't read that yet, and I can tell you this. It won't make a difference. It will not move. It will not move the numbers at all. Nobody's minds are going to be changed.
Want Biden to win. They want him to win because their agenda is an agenda. It's what they want. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. They both want to cut funding for police. They want to end that cash bail. They want to hire far-left prosecutors and judges and let the criminals run wild. The radical left district attorney in Portland, Mike Schmidt, his name is, has released hundreds of rioters and announced that anyone arrested for interfering with police officers, disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, rioting, and other offenses will not be prosecuted under any circumstance.
Okay, so the Monuments Act has been around since 1964. So if he can go back and find a rioter or a looter who harmed a statue on federal property before 1964, he is correct.
Worse. It's worse. You have somebody in Philadelphia who's worse, right? Worse. In his manifesto with Bernie Sanders, that's what it is. Biden agreed to all these things. You know, you notice now? No, I never said about fracking. I never said, if you don't do fracking in Pennsylvania, 900,000 jobs and your energy bills will triple. Other than that, I don't think you should have it, okay? No, but he said in the manifesto.
I'm not seeing any masks.
So plus he said many times, you know, we put on the clip yesterday where he, no fracking, no this, no that.
No new fracking. No new fracking.
I mean, no guns. How about guns? No guns?
Nowhere in there does it say no guns. There's absolutely nowhere in the agreement, the platform of which the RNC has none, that there were going to be no guns in the United States of America. That's complete nonsense.
No Second Amendment. Biden has pledged to appoint prosecutors who will extend these insane far-left policies nationwide. That's what he's done. That's called the manifesto. He agreed to all this stuff. The craziest thing, you know, you're supposed to bring it to the right. He actually brought it further left. Bernie never dreamt that this was possible. Crazy Bernie. Do you know Crazy Bernie? You know, I had a lot of his voters come to me 4 years ago. A big percentage. You know why? Because I agree with him, and he agrees with me on one thing, trade. The trade. Because he knew that other countries are ripping us off, and so did I. Nobody else got it, especially Biden. Never got it. He never got it. Still doesn't get it. Now he really gets nothing, I'll tell you. He didn't...
So, just a fun fact. Biden was in charge of the Recovery Act back in 2009 when we were in the height of a recession. I should say the depths of a recession. And one of his things was to keep saying, buy American. Buy American, hire American. And he wanted to have the government make sure that everything that the government purchased, or as much as possible, were goods made in America. And of course, everybody was in favor of that. Oh, except the Republicans at the time. Because they thought if the U.S. government only bought things from from American companies, then other foreign countries would stop buying American-made goods. So, yeah, Biden invented this whole Buy American long before Trump did. And many, many people invented it before Biden. It's not a new idea.
Get it in prime time. Now he really doesn't get it. But it's okay for them to make every city look just like Portland, which is a disaster. And again,
Portland looks fine. I've seen a ton of pictures from Portland lately. I just drove through Portland. Boy, was it a month ago now? It was standing. It was there.
We could clean it up. We just go right through it. 5,000, 10,000, right through it. These guys are tough. They're smart, and they love our country. They love our country. We'll clean it up in 1/2 hour. It'll be over.
Why does he think the protesters are all going to suddenly rush out once the National Guard is there and then be like, okay, arrest us? And again, it's the rioters, but he's talking about protesters.
Did you see this?
It's still there, but most of the state's on fire. That's right, isn't it, Lizzie? Now, California, it's on fire, but those are the force.
Radical left mayor, Wheeler, his name is. The radical left mayor. They chased him, Mike. They chased him out of his home last night. And all he does is be nice to them.
It wasn't last night. This man has no concept of time anymore.
Because they don't understand nice. They only understand one thing, strength. That's the only thing they understand. They don't understand nice. They chase.
So I haven't even read the story on Wheeler and what happened at his house or what, if anything happened. Keep in mind, this is the guy who put up extra fences around his own house and spent time in the bunker because he was afraid of the protesters outside. So that is rich.
Him out of his.
Well, it was rich before the virus got here, and then it's lost a lot of its value.
Oh, unbelievable. Biden's plan is to appease the domestic terrorists, and my plan is to arrest them and prosecute them. And I will always defend law-abiding citizens. That's why the rioters are voting for Biden.
The rioters?
And the law enforcement people. You know, we have it from everybody. We just got the sheriffs in Florida, all of them. We got Ohio, we got Texas, we got North Carolina, we got South Carolina, we got everybody. I don't know if there's anybody, and I see Rick Perry right there. Rick Perry, what are you doing here, Rick? Rick Perry, one of the greats. But they're all voting for me. This election is about safety, and this election is about jobs. Today I'm delighted to accept a very, very special endorsement from people I like. Sort of grew up with these people. I don't know what it is, the relationship we have with all of us. But I'm getting an endorsement tonight from some very, very special people. They work hard. They do great. We really put them back to work because this state was in trouble.
If it was Canada, they would be the Rough Riders. And there'd be two of them. One would be the Rough Riders and one would be the Rough Riders.
And last
CFL joke for you there.
Year, you had the single greatest economic year in the history of your whole operation, right?
No, they didn't. GDP was slow across the country.
Of your whole
manufacturing was in contraction.
Operation. You've never had anything like that. This has been your greatest.
Notice the applause level there? Like, did we, Tom? I don't think is that, yeah, but Trump. Yeah, we hate Pelosi and her hair.
This has been, prior to the plague coming in, it's been the Commonwealth's greatest. Can we ever call the Commonwealth a state? You got two places. You always have to say, well, wait a minute. Is this one a Commonwealth? Two places. You know what the other place is? Name it. Huh? That's right. How did you know that, Congressman? Huh? But this Commonwealth, it's a great Commonwealth. It's a great place. And the Boilermakers local union
Ask yourself one question. Am I better off 9 months ago?
It's Local 154 of the Boilermakers. They chartered in Pittsburgh 125 years ago. None of you are around to see it. And it now represents members in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. And I want to thank John Hughes and the Boilermakers here today. It's a great honor to have you. Who's John? Where the hell is John? Stand up, John. John, we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Hold on, while he's doing his introductions. So this is from the Twitters. This is the people on the 31st. So it wasn't last night. This is the 31st. These are protesters on the Twitters. Hold on, I'm bringing it over. Here are the Twitters. This is Portland, and it is Mayor Wheeler's birthday. Happy tear gas to you. Happy tear gas. So they had a little party going on. Looks like some balloons, maybe black balloons, and yeah, they had a little happy tear gas to you celebration for Mayor Wheeler. That is cute.
Do you know why John is the head? You know why? Because look, he's got the worst location. I say, where's John? I'm looking in the front row. He's in.
Oh, I got to do logo and T-shirts.
Look at that guy. He's good. You got my vote, John. Hey, Boilermakers, thank you. What a job you do. You're the heart of this country. You really are. Thank you very much. That's a great endorsement. That's a great endorsement. Joe Biden spent the last 47 years shipping Pennsylvania jobs to China and foreign nations, and I've spent the last 4 years bringing them back home, and we're bringing them back home. Bringing a lot of things back home. I ended the last administration's 8-year pure war on Pennsylvania oil and coal and fracking and national. If you look at this, the natural gas, what they've done to this state, what they were doing to this state.
Under Obama and Biden, there was a natural gas boom. There was an oil boom. There was an energy boom. We became the world's leading provider of oil and natural gas. Boom. It's just all nonsense.
It was sort of easy. I just opened it up and I said, do it. And the investment put into Pennsylvania, the investment put into the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has been record-setting.
He's so happy. He just found out today that Pennsylvania's a Commonwealth.
But again, you had the greatest year you've ever had last year prior to the virus. You're going to be set now with what we're doing. I believe that this next quarter, which will be announced, interestingly, just prior to the election. So I'm putting myself on the line, but I know what's going to happen. The numbers are going to be great. And next year is going to be one of the greatest years, not only for Pennsylvania, but for the entire country.
If Biden wins, that is true. That is correct. Oh, you guys are being YouTubed?
So Joe Hayden, we have a new one. Joe Hayden.
Ha, that's so clever.
Hayden. I have all of them. What do you like better? What do you like better?
Oh, good. Have the crowd vote on it.
Let's do a little poll. Can we do a poll? I saved myself so much money. You know, I saved myself so much money. We do these polls with thousands. And those people are coming in from the back, are they not? Yes? They're coming in. I'm telling you, you wouldn't have believed it. I'm landing. I wasn't waving at you. I was.
Yeah, fuck social distancing. That worked out well.
But I do these polls, right? And it's like a perfect poll. You know, do you ever see the companies, you give them $1 million and they do a poll?
Like my boyfriend.
78 people were polled. Now you got thousands of people. So tell me, what's your feeling, first of all, in the name? What's it? You like MAGA, Make America Great Again? Yes? Huh? Oh, you are the one. You are a man. I made you famous.
He's done this with Make America Great and Keep America Great so many times that somehow they just never settle on an answer. But okay, so he's going to do that first, and then he's going to do a Biden nickname because class. You know, remember McCain when the lady said that Obama was a Muslim? sick. And McCain says, no, he's a good family man. I know Barack Obama. He's a good family man, and he's an American. But we have our differences politically. Remember those days? Remember how angry we were that McCain wanted to do X? How the country was going to... Oh, and then the other side, Obama was going to do X and take our country. We want our country back. We want our country. And Hitler and... Check out this guy. He's about to do a poll on what nickname he should use for his opponent.
Famous today. You said the nicest things about me. Thank you. Did you see him on television today? I think you're great.
Stephanie, you're now moderator. Congratulations.
I think you're great. Thank you. No, he called me a great Christian and a great Christian leader.
Where did he get that information? Did he look it up in 2 collusions?
Thank you. But he did say I wasn't perfect. But that's okay. I said thank you anyway, right? No, that was really great. That was really great. But if you look at it, the things they've done, we're going to go through a couple of different polls as we go along because I love the people saying do this or do that.
The people.
One of the things I got you out of is this thing sounds so good, but it's so bad. It's a rip-off of our country, the so-called Paris Climate Accord. It's a disaster, a death sentence. It's a death sentence for your energy jobs. I took it out.
All completely voluntary. There's absolutely no mandates in it.
I withdrew from that calamity. Biden pledged to reinstate it. It's going to cost you billions and billions of dollars. You know what it really is? It's a way of really taking advantage of the United States. That's what it is. Last year, I visited the Shell petrochemical plant in Beaver County. Anybody ever hear of Beaver County? The largest investment in your state's history, all made possible by our pro-energy policies. Biden would wipe out that entire industry, killing the jobs of more than 600,000 Pennsylvania workers. It's probably 940,000, they say. Think of that. Also, prices and everything else. Now, Biden today came out and said, no, fracking's okay. It's okay. Did you see that? Fracking's okay. Because he was getting killed. And now he came out in favor of...
I didn't know you were in the room, Todd, but now we know.
Law enforcement. Look at all these handsome cops here.
I was going to crack a joke about co-eds, but what is that? That's such a 70s reference. Are there even co-eds anymore? Does that even mean anything? I'm not sure I ever knew what it meant.
And a beautiful cop.
No, you had to.
But how can anybody believe?
I'm not blaming you at all. I doff my cap to thee, sir. Some pretty good duffing for a cap I wasn't wearing.
He's totally against. At his speech and at the DNC, where we got much higher numbers than they did, but they put out that they did. They'll say
they put out, the Nielsen ratings.
Anything. We got much higher by millions and millions of people. Did we have a great convention?
Got outraised, too, by millions of dollars, but okay.
All right. There's my guy. Good job you did. But we had a great convention, and it's been really terrific. I made a speech at Mount Rushmore. And
hey, Waldo is there.
Speech, our numbers have been up.
There's 2 Waldos. Look.
Speech. I made a speech at Mount Rushmore.
Look, this guy right here. This is Waldo, the guy wearing the wall suit. But check this out. There's another Waldo over in here. Check this guy.
And since that speech,
there's 2 Waldos in the crowd.
Our numbers have been up like a rocket, like a beautiful rocket. The Mount Rushmore speech. I said, we're getting hit by this pandemic very unfairly in the sense that we've done such a good job with the ventilators, all of the things. You've heard it 1,000 times. And we have to get back. And I made a speech in really a great place, South Dakota, but it was Mount Rushmore. They want to blow it up. They want to take off Mount Rushmore. If you would see how beautiful this is, it was like this perfect evening. The sun was setting. The faces of these great, great majestic heroes of our country, right? Heroes of our country.
No, you don't have to. If you're here, then great. If you're not here, Stephanie, don't worry about moderating the chat. It's just if you're there and you see something and you want to click it, fine. Does anybody else want to be a moderator? I don't care. I'll make you all moderators.
And they want to blow up Mount Rushmore. But how about this one? The Democrats yesterday came out with a plan. Did you see it? Now, they're the D.C. Democrats. They want to change the name of the Washington Monument, perhaps take it down. Thomas Jefferson, pretty good Thomas Jefferson, right?
Wait, what? I just totally missed that. What did he say?
Want to change the name? Now, they're the D.C. Democrats. They want to change the name of the Washington Monument, perhaps take it down.
Who wants to take down the Washington Monument?
Thomas Jefferson, pretty good Thomas Jefferson, right? You could forget about ever hearing that name again. Abraham Lincoln, you could forget about it. They want to take down all statues, all monuments in Washington. We have some of your greatest people right here. Let me not even talk to the congressman. The heck with the congressman, the Boilermakers. How do you like that?
Well, there's something to be said. There are people that do not want statues to anybody who owned human beings. And Washington was a slave owner, and Jefferson was a slave owner, etc. I mean, this country has a shameful history. It just does. I mean, I'm an American. I became an American. I made that choice because we're not that country anymore. That's not who we are. But our forefathers had multiple slaves, probably 8 to 10 apiece. And there are a lot of people, especially African-American people, who descended from slaves, brought over against their wills, and the forefathers owned people that maybe we shouldn't celebrate their images. I don't know. I mean, it's a valid point. They were kind of assholes. They owned people.
How do you like the idea of taking down our statues to our great George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln?
Like, honestly, what the fuck do I care? If it's really upsetting, does it make my life any better to have a statue of George Washington at a park somewhere? No. I never go up to that statue and go like, oh, hey, everything's okay, kids. We got a George Washington statue here. You guys ever heard of George Washington? No, they don't teach us about it in school. Okay, well then we should learn from the statue. Doesn't make my life any better. But if every time I saw that statue, it reminded me that the Oilers didn't make the playoffs this year, if it causes even 1/10 of that pain, I get it. I don't care. Like, it's not the way that Trump idolizes this guy. It's against God, right there in the First Amendment, or sorry, the First Commandment. You know how he sort of interchanged. Just look it up. It's in 2 collusions.
Andrew Jackson, all of them. I don't think the Boilermakers. You'll ring.
Andrew Jackson, Trail of Tears.
You'll do a ring around Washington, right? Along with Christopher Columbus. He's in big trouble, I'll tell you. Except there was one.
Why does he keep touching the mic?
There was a group of great Italians in New York. They tried to take down Christopher Columbus statue in New York. You saw what happened, right? These Italians formed a little circle. They say, come on. The agitators decided to leave. Let's get out of here, darling.
That's what they call each other?
Protected Christopher Columbus.
That sounds like Antifa. Let us get out of here, darling.
The Italians aren't big on taking down Christopher Columbus. You take down...
Let us go watch television. You cannot, darling. The windmills are not blowing today.
Down those statues, you can forget about the Italian vote. Do we agree? But they protected it. When asked in a debate if there would be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking and...
Here's the thing. There are people who don't like the Lincoln Memorial, Todd. There are people who look at the Lincoln Memorial and say, hey, I don't like that. Okay. And if you look hard enough, you're going to find somebody just Hates the Lincoln Memorial. It's scary. He's so big. That doesn't represent half of the country. There are people out there, and we see them on TV all the time, that says black people should go back to where they came from, and brown people should go back to where they came from, etc., etc. There's a lot of Karens out there. That doesn't mean that half the country are Karens. It's 32% of the country are Karens.
Natural gas and so many things that really fire up these big plants where many of you work, and they produce, just millions and millions of jobs throughout our country.
I wonder if he understands that natural gas has killed the coal industry. I wonder if he knows that's what happened.
Biden said, no, we would absolutely not allow anything like that. We would make sure it's totally eliminated. That's what he said.
No.
He said, we would make sure it's totally eliminated or eliminated.
Not what he said.
Now he's coming and saying, this
totally
is
what?
Make sure it's totally eliminated or eliminated. Now he said, we would make sure it's totally eliminated or eliminated.
Isn't that the same word he's saying twice?
That's what he said. He said, we would make sure it's totally eliminated or eliminated. Now he's coming and saying, this isn't working too well. This isn't working. I made a speech a week ago in Texas. We had crowds that were unbelievable. On the highways, you can't get in. But the highways, it's like incredible. You could sell your ticket tonight for a lot of money. Go to eBay. Even as a used ticket, you could probably sell. But you go down the highways and you see it. And I was thinking in Texas, I'm making a speech in front of obviously people that like oil. They like God. And you know what else they like? They like their Second Amendment, right? So think about it.
That's the thing about the marble countertops, Todd, is the lemon will stain it. So you got to be careful there with the lemonaded.
So whether it's Pennsylvania or Texas or Oklahoma or North Dakota, any place.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down that place.
No oil, no guns, no God. I don't think George Washington running with Abraham
Lincoln would then win in Texas because the
Lincoln as his VP. He'll pick Abraham Lincoln as VP is going to win in Texas or in Pennsylvania or any place else with those three things eliminated. That's what they want.
Yeah, because people would be like, I feel hesitant to vote for a zombie. Who else is on the ticket here? Trump? Nope, zombie it is. Zombie Washington. Congratulations, Mr. President.
They want to take away your Second Amendment. If I weren't
Zombie Washington was the name of my high school band.
President, you would either have an obliterated Second Amendment or it would be gone entirely. I am standing...
So, obliterated or gone entirely. One or the other. No idea what obliterated means. It's not the first time he's done that, by the way.
Between them and your Second Amendment, and that's it. That's it. They know. He put Beto in charge of guns. Beto's in charge. He wants to get rid of everything. Beto, that's a beauty. Remember, he said, I was born for this. Anybody that says they're born for this, remember Beto? He was on the cover.
Remember 2000 when he ran for president and he gave up after one primary because he only got 15% in California? Remember that? Remember the guy that was born to be president? That guy?
Cover of a magazine. I won't mention the magazine. They're back there. It's a total phony magazine. But he was on the cover of the magazine.
Vanity Fair is a totally phony magazine. Like what they publish it every month and it goes to the newsstands or your house phonily? What does that even mean?
And he said, I was born to run for president. He was born for it. I was born. Anybody that gets that carried away, that was when he was doing well. Since then, he's cratered. Ever since he made that statement, he's looked very bad.
Well, he dropped out of the race, so.
But he's, take a look at what he says about guns. And he got put in charge of guns. So I guess Biden pretty soon is going to be...
does anybody know what he's talking about? Did Biden put Beto in charge of guns for some reason? Is that even a thing? Has Biden put together his cabinet yet? Because that is news to me. But I mean, if he has, it's pretty impressive considering the fact that he's apparently been in his basement.
Coming out saying, no, I never said that. Check out all of the statement he's made on everything. And
all
now
the
he's
statement?
going the opposite. So I guess Biden pretty soon is going to be coming out saying, no, I never said that. Check out all of the statement he's made on everything. And now he's going the opposite way. But he's agreed to the manifesto entirely, so maybe he'll do that. And then he figures later on he'll go, but everything he said is right, because he has no control over what's happening. The radical left has captured the party. They even elected a person that nobody ever heard of, a senator, it's been a while, against a young, good-looking Kennedy by 10 points in Massachusetts. Did you know Kennedy lost in Massachusetts? You know why? Because he wasn't a radical left. He was like a semi-normal person, just slightly left.
That's how democracy works. The people get to decide who represents them. Unless it's a president, in which case the people chose Hillary, and somehow there you are.
No, but think of it. This is what's happened, and this is really what's happened. If you're not a radical lefty, meaning guns, meaning fossil fuels, they want wind.
Yeah.
You know, to make the windmill, which are made mostly in China and in Germany, by the way, to make it, so much emission is let out that it's more than you can ever save. It's just the craziest thing.
Emissions, so many emissions, yeah.
Also, I am truly an environmentalist. But you have to understand, when we do things and they don't, and we clean, and it's very expensive to do that, and they don't, and we have this massive planet, and China, India, Russia, Germany, all these places, it's fuming up, and we're doing our job and beautiful. No, they have to do it also. Otherwise, it just doesn't work the way it's...
There should be some kind of international climate accord. We should all be part of it, every country. And then we can begin to address... I need a wall to bang my head. There's just an endless void behind me, unfortunately. I need... Somebody get me a wall!
Supposed to. They want to ban straws. Has anybody ever tried those paper straws? They're not working too well.
I'm with Trump on this one.
They want to ban straws. I said, well, you know, I've had a couple of meals at McDonald's, etc. over the years, right?
Okay.
Wendy's, friend of mine owns Wendy's. I'll give it a...
This is new. I want to hear where this is going. This is exciting. Usually this is all repeat for me.
Blood, right? Burger King.
Yeah. Oh, it's September. We got the new programs coming out. This is what we have right here. This is the new episode of Trump.
So they want to ban straws. I said, oh, really? What about the carton? What about the plate? What about the knives and the spoons that are plastic? Oh, they're okay. But the straws we got to ban. Has anybody ever tried? Seriously, the new straw is made out of paper, right?
The new straw is made out of paper.
It disintegrates as you drink it. If you have a nice tie like this tie, this would have no chance.
Why?
By the time you get finished, the straw is totally disintegrated. Does anybody walk around with a plastic straw? Because it's not bad. You know, you whip it out, boom, boom.
No, they have metal straws, though, and actually people do use those. I don't use straws, so...
You never had to do that. When asked whether he would be willing to destroy the jobs of hundreds of thousands of blue-collar workers to push his anti-energy agenda, you know what the answer is, right?
That was a very disappointing straw story. I hope that's the last straw story. There's nothing to it, really. I thought he was going somewhere. He was talking about McDonald's for a second?
It's the Green New...
I mean, I could have at least thrown a darling in there. Can we go to McDonald's for dinner? No, darling, we can't. The windmills have given me cancer. Oh, but what about the straw? I can't drink from the straw. My tie has become so Really, he's just texting it in at this point.
New Deal, right? This Green New Deal. This was made up by people that don't get it. Either that or people that just don't like our country very much. But Biden replied, yes, he'll get rid of those jobs. And he famously told a voter, I want you to look in my eyes when he's not wearing the mask, because I've never seen a man that liked a mask. The
mask does not cover his eyes. Just But I don't even know where he's going with this story. He's probably gonna tell the story about the guy. He called a guy a liar because the guy said he was going to take away his guns or something. That's why I'm guessing he's going in that direction with this story. But let's just start with the basics. Look me in the eye when I'm not wearing a mask. Let's go back, because that's what he says.
But Biden replied, yes, he'll get rid of those jobs. And he famously told a voter, I want you to look in my eyes when he's not wearing the mask, because I've never seen a man that liked a mask. Look, I'm all for it. We have a big weekend, distance on the weekend and all of that stuff, and wear your mask when you close.
Distance on the weekend? What did he say?
Together, because I've never seen a man that liked a mask. Look, I'm all for it. We have a big weekend, distance on the weekend and all of that stuff, and wear your mask when you close together in particular.
He's talking about Memorial Day. We have a big weekend, distance on the weekend. Distance on the Weekend was the title of my second album.
And wash your hands, all those things. We have Labor Day weekend coming up.
Yes.
But did you ever see a man that likes a mask as much as him? And then he makes a speech, and he always has it, not always, but a lot of times he has it hanging down.
Which ear?
Because you know what? It gives him a feeling of security. If I were a psychiatrist, right? No,
you would be disbarred. You would be disbarred and charged with, I don't know, mental rape, something.
I'd say this guy's got some big issues. Hanging down. Congressman, give me your mask. I want to have it hanging from my ear. I don't want to touch your damn mask. Mike, I'll never touch your mask.
Oh, he's getting ready to do verbal kitty litter. I like it.
But the new one is, I went for a physical. The doctor said to me, sir, would you like to go over to Walter Reed? It's incredible. By the way, the job they do on people that have been just really hurt are heroes. And the job they do is incredible. But sir, would you like to go over and do a physical? You have some time. You know why I had time? Some deal. Oh, it was China. I decided not to see China because they didn't like the way they were doing business, okay? Does that make sense?
No.
So the doctor, White House doctor, highly respected.
White House doctor.
Conley. Sir, would you like to go over and do your physical, do a piece of it or finish it or whatever it was, but do a physical?
This is a news story, so here comes some inconsistencies.
I said, I don't know. I'm not in love with the idea.
I don't know. He's suddenly Barney from The Simpsons. I don't know. I just threw up in your bathroom.
Well, if you do it, we don't have to do it. So, okay, let's go. Come on. So we went. And
by the way, the White House official statement on it was that it was phase 1. So going to do it so that you don't have to do it is not a true story.
We're driving. Now you have to understand there are 100 cars. You see what happens here. It's like the plane times 50. So the cars are driving all over. It's about a 20-minute drive.
That is not how the cars go. That is not how. Nothing in his world is normal. It's like his entire life is that part of Dumbo where it's pink elephants on parade and everything is weird and scary when you're a 7-year-old kid, and that's all you remember about the movie. But that's his whole life. That's how he sees the world. Pink elephants on parade. Pink elephants on parade.
And we get to the hospital.
Todd, you know what I'm talking about with the pink elephants on parade. I don't know if anybody else is a Disney fan. That was not a Disney thing. That was a good part of my childhood, that pink elephants on parade nonsense. Heffalumps and woozles.
I get out. I was there probably for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then yesterday I read that I had strokes. CNN, fake news CNN right there. No, it's mini strokes, they called them.
Mini strokes would explain the leisure. By the way, nobody said that he had mini strokes. He came up with mini strokes on his own.
I don't know what a mini stroke is, but it's not good.
Well, you've invented it.
And there could be a day, and I'll admit, I said, hey, it happens to all of us, right?
Well, I mean, clearly he hasn't had a mini stroke. Just listen to him, kids.
I don't know what a mini stroke is, but it's not good.
Uh-huh.
And there could be a day, and I'll admit, I said, hey, it happens to them. They're not looking at that. Right? And there could be a day, and I'll admit, I said, hey, it happens to all of us, right? Except these young ones, it's never going to happen to them.
What?
They're not looking at that. But you know what happens? but nothing happened. So I went in. I did that part of
Pretty sure we just witnessed a mini stroke in real time.
the physical. The end result was he's very healthy. They're very unhappy when they heard that result. And what you don't remember is when this took place, it was a long time ago. They just started up because they want to try and get me to be in Biden's physical level. You know, they viewed me as being somebody that's, you know.
Biden rides a bike. Trump can't get down a ramp, so there's a lot of climbing to do to get you to, and you can't climb, so.
I go around, hey.
Yeah. Hey.
Last week, this week.
Yeah.
Texas, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Florida.
You sat on a plane.
South Carolina, back to Washington. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go everywhere. Yeah. Meetings all the time. I think I've answered more questions from these maniacs than any president in history.
Look at all that social distancing.
And mean questions. You know, I watched Biden yesterday, so he hasn't answered questions in, 2 months or something.
That's not true.
And yesterday, he took a couple, and they were setups like I've never seen.
No?
One young woman, who I think is there, one young woman is smiling. Hi. Hi. Hi.
Okay.
Hi. I'd just like to ask you, I'm sorry to bother you with this question. It's the most incredible. So the doctor wrote a letter.
I watched the press conference, and I don't believe that happened. But anyway.
Saying, no, this rumor is wrong.
In fact, he came back. Can we get one more question, sir? And it was, I want to say it was Steve Doocy. That's who it was, who has a very anti-Biden stance. Let's call it a slant. Whatever he reports on Biden. But Doocy was like, hey, can I get a question? Because Biden's like, I've taken up enough of your time. He's apologetic that he's taken up their time. I've taken up a bunch of your time. Yes, at random, Winnie the Goo. And he starts to leave. And then, you know what? I know you always ask me hostile questions, but let's give you a question. So he came back to answer a question from Fox News. But yeah, Steve Doocy was not smiling at him. And they had a quip back and forth, but he was joking. He wasn't saying, you're enemy of the press, of the people, and yeah, Fox News. It was like, yeah, I know you're going to ask me a hostile question.
And I don't like, rumors like that. And by the way, if it were a fact, it's fine. It should. I think it's an important thing. But if it's not true, my wife was like, she came to me, she said, I think I would have known that. I said, yeah, I think they would have known it too, because they drove back with me. The press follows me. They have a special deal, a van. They followed me. And then we go in, we go out. But if you remember last time, I go in, I spend a little time physical, like we all have. Hopefully you have them. Good thing to have, I guess. As long as they give you a good answer. If they give you a bad answer, don't bother.
Okay, that's a joke.
Too late.
Okay. It's a joke about death.
I come out a couple of hours later, I guess, whatever it is, short time later. I get into the car. The press sees me get into the car.
Thank you for renting with me, Stephanie.
On my way home, I get a call from my wife, the First Lady, who's very popular. Do we like our First Lady?
The one who said the migrant kids have it too good. Yes. Can't wait to hear those recordings, by the way. By the way, there's not going to be much there. It really isn't. They're going to be very short, and they're going to be defendable. Disgruntled employee, blah, blah, blah.
She's very popular. She's a great person, great woman.
And here's the thing. Anybody in that circle is a liar. Like, you don't get to be part of his atmosphere unless you're a horrible person. That's all there is to it. So anytime someone says, oh, I have this, remember Ambrosia or Amaretto or whatever her name was? Oh, I've got all these other no. Once she got fired, she started taping people. And once those tapes ran out, all the other tapes she was talking about, they didn't exist. How do we know? Because they never appeared anywhere. She was lying. Somebody give me her real name. I'm not trying to make fun of her. I know she got fired and everything. But it was Amarosa? Was it Amarosa? Am I just making that up in my head? I don't know. You guys are so far behind me in terms of chat that it's going to be 18 minutes before you see what I said here anyway. I'm already asleep.
She said, darling, are you okay? I go, why do you ask? She said, they're reporting that you had a heart attack. Now, you have to understand, I'm driving in a car which is about, what, 6 cars in front of the press, because they have a big car. There are a lot of them, and we try and give them as little room as possible, make it uncomfortable. But they're right
Wait, why is there laughter?
behind me, so they know I got in.
It was amnesia.
And CNN reported that I had a heart attack. That was the same visit, and that didn't work. No, it's unbelievable. CNN reported I had a heart attack, so my wife was concerned. I said, no, not that I know of. And if I did, I think I'd be back there. No, I'll be home in 15 minutes, darling. Thank you for caring. It's always nice. It's always nice. She sounded relieved. That's good. When your wife sounds relieved. But she said, I wonder how that happened. Why did they do that? Because they're fake news. So I go in, and that rumor lasted for a little while, like a day or two.
Because the visit didn't appear on his daily schedule, and the hospital was not alerted to him arriving before he got there. Well, they were given 10 minutes notice. And the vehicle sped there quickly. It was not a normal presidential physical visit. And it was 3 months earlier than it should have been. So, yeah. And the reason they gave at the time was, his president's so busy. He's going to be so busy, he's not going to have a chance. And he's golfed how many times since then? I don't know. Let's just say 70 because facts don't matter anymore. 612 times since then. He's golfed. But he has no time. No time.
It lasted for a little while. No matter what I did. I walk. I'm in the same motorcade. I go in.
Are people giving me thumbs down like as we go right now?
And I go out. They know I'm in the motorcade. I actually have to report it. But
yes.
I'm in the motorcade. And they said I had to cut one.
You can give me thumbs up or thumbs down. I don't care. I'm sure, actually it might help if you give me thumbs up. Because just the way the algorithm works on YouTube, they probably somehow feature videos that get thumbs up. I don't know.
One of them said it was a massive heart attack. Think of it. Again, it could happen someday, okay? And when it does, I hope things work out. But they knew I'm in the motorcade, and yet they reported it anyway because they're fake news. Now, for the same visit, that was the same. I
wonder if I can give myself a thumbs up.
From now on, when I go for a physical...
I did it. I gave myself a thumbs up.
Announce it. Because this was a quick thing. The doctor, he got me in a lot of trouble. He's a great doctor. I said, no more surprise visits.
So, thanks, guys. Now I'm even. Now it's 6 up, thumbs up, and 6 thumbs down. If you guys are wondering what the hell the chat room's talking about, so on YouTube, underneath a video on YouTube, there's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And we get a lot of trolls. We get a lot of, thanks, Phyllis. We get a lot of people watching that aren't necessarily fans of what I'm doing here. And so they give me thumbs down, apparently. So there were 6 thumbs down and 1 thumbs up. So if you go to youtube.com/KevinlyFather, even if you're watching on Twitter or whatever, you can give me a thumbs up there. And then we turn that frown upside down. So if you feel like doing that, go right ahead. I appreciate it, I guess. Look at 8-6 now. We were down 6-1. Now it's 8-6. It's just like a basketball game. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
We do a little work because we have some time. But so now the same visit, they started yesterday because some joker from the New York Times, who's a third-rate reporter, writes a book.
There's never second-rate reporters. By the way, the third-rate reporter has, a Pulitzer Prize or two. So they usually just they're like water. They hand it out like water. I can make up stupid expressions too.
And he said, the vice president...
Oh, we got another thumbs down, guys. We started a war, so it's 8-7 now.
...was prepared.
Now what's going to happen is one of these thumbs downers, they're going to go out to Parlor and tell everybody that, hey guys, you got to go, just storm them. That's happened a couple of times. We've been stormed. We've been storm-trooped or storm-pooped. So yeah, now it's 9-8. That's all I'm going to look at now. Yeah, it's 9-9. 9-9. See? The word's gotten out. Now people are going to try and thumbs down. I thought it was you, Lizzie. Here, let's see if I can thumbs down myself as well. Yeah, I can! Wait, let me see if I can shift the balance back. Yes, I can. I can thumbs down and then thumbs up and then back again. So, all right, now we're up 10-8. Moving on, kids.
To take over the reins. Because they thought the president was going to go, I guess, under anesthesia. Do they still call it In the old days, they called it anesthesia. It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah?
I don't want to get into a situation like where Biden used record player. Remember that? You go home, you turn
Not
on
particularly.
your record player. But the anesthesia. And I said, how could that be? So remember, this is the same visit. They said heart attack a long time. All of a sudden out of this book. And he said, suffered mini strokes. Now they get a letter from the White House doctor that said it's totally false. But they still go with it. They go with it. And they know I'm in the group with them coming back. And I don't know much about a mini stroke, but I assume, Mr. Congressman, if you have a mini stroke, you're not heading back to the White House, right? At least you'll spend a couple of nights at that great hospital, right? So anyway, these are really dangerous people. They are so bad for our country. If we had honest press, it would be so great for the USA.
The press are really dangerous people.
They're so great.
Just to keep track of what's going on
They're
there.
just a bunch of phony people. Not all of them. You have some very good ones, like about 10%. No, you have some very good ones. You have some great journalists, but it's really, they know it's phony stuff. They're doing anything they can to get this sleepy guy into the White House, and I just don't think the public is going to fall for it.
There we go.
I don't think the
All right.
public is going to fall for it.
There's the thumbs up and thumbs down in real time, so you guys have at it. That's what you're paying for. So, yeah, I always have a lot more people watching than are actually chatting. So you guys can have some fun without actually having to chat. If you want to go thumbs up or thumbs down me, head on over to... No, we just lost one. I just lost a thumbs up. So there you have it. Thank you, everyone, for giving me thumbs up, or thank you for giving me thumbs down. Just so long as we're participating in democracy. I love this. Here we go.
You know, in his...
I just lost another thumbs up, you guys. You're killing me. Fine, you know what? I'm giving myself a thumbs down. Boom.
Last days, 25, 30 years ago, he was weak. He was weak as a senator. He was weak. He was not known as being one of the smart ones. And
Wow.
It's not exactly prime time, I can tell you that.
Everyone is now doing what everyone's now giving me a thumb. Are you guys... Anyway, I've had it with the thumbs up and thumbs down. Here we go.
I just want to announce
Honestly, I'm so bored by Trump right now. This is so low energy.
tonight, because we're joined with some very, very special warriors. And Dan Muser. Dan, thank you very much. Great job you're doing. Dan, congressman. These are congressmen who have really been warriors for me. They really have been. Thank you very much, Dan. Fred Keller. Fred, thank you. Great job, Fred. Thaller, do you know him? What are you doing over there? Now I understand. Great friend of mine right from the beginning, Congressman long term, was getting ready to make. This was 4 years in the rest of the country.
We're just skipping through a lot of the thank yous, etc.
But if what's going on in the rest of the country is like what's going on in Tennessee, he said they're coming from the hills,
The valleys, the rivers, the mountains.
They're coming.
Yeah.
People that never really cared to vote. They're great Americans, but they never wanted to vote for the people that they were seeing. He said, they're miles long. They've got Trump here, Trump hats, Trump pins, right?
Yeah.
Tennessee. Duncan. That was before. So Mike and I listened and told people, they're like this is a band we've done. And
Okay, here we go.
another great friend of mine who's a tough cookie and a great congressman, but unfortunately he's a former. And we heard that he's going to be for Trump, and he's going to be fighting for Trump. And, you know, I saw some of his commercials. I thought he was a Republican, right? Except when he got to Washington, he voted with Pelosi 100% of the time.
Talking about Mark Lamb, maybe?
Crazy Nancy. He voted with Crazy
Who knows?
Nancy. And so we thought, this Connor Lamb guy, he even voted to impeach your president over
It is
nothing.
Lamb.
Zero. And that's very personal. When they do that, that's personal. So, and I have to say, Congressman, 196-0, they stuck with us. And so did the Senate, other than Romney. You can have Romney, I'll tell you.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Romney couldn't be elected dog catcher in Utah right now.
They don't elect dog catchers
Although
in Utah.
he gave me a half a vote. It was 52.5 to a half. That was Romney. What a beaut. Remember he was walking with the Black Lives Matter saying, yes, it
wasn't.
Black Lives Matter. Everyone saying, that's nice, wonderful.
It was 52 to 48, and then it was 53 to 48 and 52 to 48. There was no half. You don't have a half vote in the Senate.
He had a lot of masks on, I'll tell you that. But we did a great job. We had a great, it was an amazing thing. But this Connor Lamb was out there fighting it. And he shouldn't have done that. And we have somebody that blows him away. He's more of a hero. He's tougher. He's stronger. He's smarter. He's better looking, not that that matters. You know, under the Me Too generation, I don't talk about looks anymore. Looks up.
I'm honestly just reading the chat now. I've just kind of tuned out of Trump.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. I don't talk about looks. Me Too. Me Too generation. But I'll tell you, this man is something special. He's a real hero.
No, he called Romney. Oh, he said Romney had half a brain. That's what he said the other day. And again, a president saying that a senator has half a brain.
A real tough guy, and he'll never let you down. Sean Parnell. Just remember that Connor Lamb, and I remember because he's like a lamb. He's like a little lamb. Weak.
God, he does this for another half an hour.
We like strong people, don't we? We like strong. We need strong people right now. We have somebody else in the audience who served as my Secretary of Energy, and he was incredible. He was the governor of Texas for what, 12 years, I think, Rick, right? 12? Tell me, 14? 14 years he was. And he was an incredible governor, and he was an incredible secretary, and he's been an incredible friend.
Yeah, Abbott. Sorry,
when
Perry.
He decided that I would be the one, he got out. And there's nobody that said better things about me.
Oops.
But you're great, Rick, and you did a fantastic job. Every place you've been great. Thank you very much. Rick Perry. Thank you.
Steve
hey, Rick,
Perry's
how
better.
How are we doing in Texas? Huh?
I'd like a rack of lamb, quite frankly.
We had a poll today.
I haven't had lamb in so
Georgia.
long.
You know, they say Georgia's going to be close. Well, this was a poll that hates Trump, and we're up 7. That was the same thing happened last time.
Is he?
Right? You know, they use the words in play. George is in play, they say. George is in play. Well, we're up 7, and this is a poll that truly hates us, okay? But they did the last time. Didn't they say last time that Texas was in play? And then it was 8 o'clock, the polls closed, and they only announce if you're way ahead. So they say the polls have closed in the great state of Texas. Donald Trump has won the great state of Texas. And I kept hearing it was in play. They said Utah, the home of our worst senator. They said Utah was in play. That's Mitt Romney. Mike Lee's doing excellent. I didn't want to get them confused, by the way. But they say Utah, same thing. Remember that 4 years ago? We had the guy with the shaved head. What was his name, Rick? What a loser that was. You know who I'm talking about. That's right. A McMuffin, I think, something like that. And he was going to win Utah. And I won it by many, many, many points. It was called immediately. So these are people that are just not good. In fact, Hillary even beat this guy. Hillary came in second in Utah. In less than 4 years, we've achieved more than anyone thought possible. We passed massive tax cuts for hardworking families. And we eliminated more regulations than any administration in the history of our country. I saved the U.S. auto industry by withdrawing from the last administration's job-killing catastrophe known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It would have been a catastrophe. Not only for autos, by the way, for everything else, too. To protect our workers, I imposed stiff tariffs on foreign aluminum and foreign steel. That kept you guys...
So here's the thing about the USMCA or NUFTA. He withdrew from it. Mexico, or he withdrew from NAFTA shortly after he decided he wasn't going to be part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership at all. Mexico and Canada are both in the Trans-Pacific Partnership. That could have all been worked out without having to destroy NAFTA, because he'd be in now and we would be protected against poor trade practices between all of those countries, including Mexico and Canada. So we have our own little sideshow, which both Mexico and Canada has kind of said, well, I guess we'll do, but like, wouldn't you rather be part of this big group so that we didn't have to worry about all? Anyway.
I was very busy. They were dumping all over the place. Is that right? They were dumping. And it was bad steel, too. It was dirt steel. This week, my administration reached a breakthrough agreement to stop additional steel imports from Brazil and from Mexico for the rest of the year, despite the USMCA. Sometimes they get a little carried away, and we have to do a little tariff action on them. So we stopped that. We're reversing decades of the Biden betrayals that decimated Pennsylvania jobs. You know that. This state lost, listen to this, 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs after the twin disasters of NAFTA and China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. One of the worst things that happened when China came in. You know, they were flatlined for many years. Then they came into this crazy deal. They're considered a developing nation. You see, I've been sort of protesting that, but they're considering China. As a developing nation, you get all sorts of things that you would never get, advantages over the United States. Well, we have very strongly protested that. They're not a developing nation. They're a very powerful, developed nation. And you know what? They got to pay what everyone else has to pay. Earlier this...
They do have to pay what everyone else has to pay. You get no advantage by declaring yourself a developing nation. We could declare ourselves a developing nation if we wanted to be a laughing stock. I mean, more so.
This year I kept my promise to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania when we ended the NAFTA nightmare and signed the brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement into law, which is in effect now and really doing well. Everyone said it'll never happen. And I had great help from these gentlemen right here.
Is it really doing well? Do we know that?
I took the toughest ever action to stand up to China's pillaging, plundering, and rampant theft of Pennsylvania and many other places.
I don't think Triumph would get very far with Trump. He doesn't have much of a sense of humor. At one point, Ali G tried to interview him, and he called out Sacha Baron Cohen. He knew that this was a joke to begin with.
Jobs. That's all throughout the world, by the way, but our states have been just pillaged by...
He's so used to people coming and praising him that as soon as Sacha Baron Cohen asked him one difficult question, he just walked out.
China and others. Joe Biden's agenda is made in China. My agenda is made in America.
Okay. It technically doesn't have an agenda. There was no platform this year for the Republicans. So maybe Joe Biden's was made in China, but at least he has one.
After years and years of rebuilding other countries, we are finally rebuilding our...
Now he's just reading off the teleprompter. Should we keep going with this, guys? Are people having a good time watching this?
Country. It's called America First. We're America First. It's enough. And we're bringing our soldiers back home. You see what's going on. After 19 years in Afghanistan.
Hi, Marcy.
Faraway places. To bring hope to our inner cities, I created Opportunity Zones. Tim Scott, great senator from South Carolina, worked on it with me. Passed criminal justice reform. Delivered permanent funding for historically black colleges and universities that Obama would never do. And before the China virus, we had...
Wow, no, Obama started that program in 2010 and had a 10-year law passed that then sunsetted and Trump had to renew, which he did. But that's just completely disingenuous and not only disingenuous, but I kind of think that's racist to say.
Achieved the lowest African American, Hispanic American, Asian American unemployment rates ever recorded by far. And they're now heading back in that direction quickly. Democrat politicians have failed the black community for decades. They failed the Asian community, the Hispanic community. They failed women. The numbers on women's unemployment were the best in 61 years. Biden spent the last 47 years betraying the American people. He was always for things that you wouldn't want, and now he's changing. No, I never said that. I never said that. I've
pulled us out of the last recession. You've put us into recession, but he was the one who was trying to hurt the American people.
Spent the last 4 years keeping my promises and delivering for the African American community and for all communities. And the best is yet to come.
If he could raise his arms.
Perhaps in no area have our opponents more thoroughly betrayed working families of all backgrounds than on the subject of immigration. You know, we've been fighting for that.
Ooh, come on.
Under my administration, we achieved the most secure border in American history. We ended catch and release, stopped asylum fraud, and we've deported 20,000 gang members, and we get them out, and we get them out fast. Thank you.
Be fun to see, though, Bev.
ICE and Border Patrol. ICE and Border Patrol. They don't like ICE because they're tough. You got to be tough in that job, by the way. Anybody up here like to work in ICE? I don't think so. Let's see, you could probably be okay. But you'd rather do what you're doing, right? I agree with you. These are tough guys. They have to be tough. These are bad, bad gang members. I mean, you look at MS-13, you look at what's happened with MS-13, you look at, but we get them the hell out. Sometimes we have to put them in prison because we don't even want to take a chance they can come back in after what they've done. We built 300 miles of border wall, and we're adding 10 new miles every single week. Every week. And the wall will
producer
be
Joanne is right.
Soon. And by the way, they keep saying, but Mexico will be paying for the wall. And I say it respectfully to Mexico, but they will be paying for the wall.
No, that's not the way it works.
They just don't want to write it, and that's okay, too.
You're not going to send them a bill. What are they going to do? Okay. Yeah, they want us to pay for the wall. Okay. It's never going to happen.
Because Mexico's treated us very well. The president of Mexico, right now they have 27,000 Mexican soldiers on our border guarding us.
They do not. That is not the way it happens.
From people coming in illegally.
No, they don't. They have a bunch of soldiers along the southern border.
We invested
$2.5
trillion in the United States military and launched the first new branch of the United States Armed Forces in nearly 75 years since the Air Force, and that's called the Space Force.
Oh, thank God. Thank God, President Trump.
Right, Sean? Pretty good. Going to send Mike into space. You want to go into space, Mike? Our great congressman. But think of that. You know, we created a new branch of the United States. That alone, if you had that alone. But then you add judges, all the other things. We passed VA choice and VA accountability.
Obama
so now,
did.
Instead of waiting for a week, 2 weeks.
That's one of his biggest and most consistent lies. He's been telling us since the very beginning when he first signed modifications to those laws. He probably believes it. He probably thinks that he somehow got that passed. Obama got VA choice and VA responsibility back in 2014. And Trump was screaming for it during the campaign. He just has no concept of reality.
5 weeks, 9 weeks to see a doctor. You don't
I want your fawn cake.
Have a doctor, you go right out, you get a private doctor.
I want a, what's it called, a haipu pie?
Doctor, we pay the bill.
How pay?
And our great veterans get better quickly. And accountability. We keep people accountable for the way they treat our veterans. And if they don't treat them well, we say, sorry, you're fired, get out. No, we couldn't fire anybody. We had sadists, we had thieves, we had some very bad people in the VA, and they're all gone. Thank you. I love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Such friendly voices. Right, beautiful. Only in Pennsylvania, right?
Haupaya?
Thank you.
Haupaya.
I withdrew from the
Say it out loud so I can hear.
Disastrous
Haupaya. That's what I said.
Think of this. Obama paid $150 billion for a short-term deal. He gave $1.8 billion in cash. You ever see $1 million like at a casino floor or something in $100 bills? It's a lot. It's like the size of this, right? Now think $1.8 billion. How did you guys allow that to happen? Huh?
Well, it was Iran's money. Iran had purchased planes back in the 70s. We never gave them the planes, and we owed them the money. We had just been holding on to the money, so we gave the money back. That's how that works.
They said we all voted against it. I kept my...
That no one voted on it. It was Iran's money.
I promise. Recognize the true capital of Israel.
Oh no, there's an airplane behind him at an airport. He'd better look. Yeah, an airplane at an airport!
You never know nowadays, right? And I opened the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. I recognized...
He moved the... Okay.
Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. They've been trying to get that done for 52 years. I got it done immediately. And by the way, as far as the capital of Israel, Jerusalem, they've been talking about many, many presidents. They all promised it. Nobody did it. I did it.
It's true.
We get things done.
And by God, the world is so much better now.
We just did something that is incredible. Even the New York Times gave it good reviews. Not good reviews, beyond good reviews.
If he's about to say the UAE deal with Israel, yeah, that was okay. But that's more about economic development than it is about peace. The two were not at war with each other.
Tom Friedman gave it phenomenal reviews. You believe that? And that's
sure.
We achieved the first breakthrough in Middle East peace in decades. A deal with Israel.
That's just not true. Every few years there's another breakthrough. In fact, there's a much bigger deal that just happened with Hamas in the Gaza Strip and with Israel, brokered by Egypt and another country whose name is... But Trump had nothing to do with it. But, anyway, that's actually a significant Middle East peace deal. The UAE it's nice. It's good.
Right? And the UAE. To deal with Israel and the UAE. And that's going to lead, and I will tell you, we have representatives over right now, and other people are saying, we want to get in that deal. You'll have peace in the Middle East, but we want to get the hell out.
So you can just jump on Al Jazeera, and you'll see that the Gaza, the Hamas deal is a much, much bigger deal than the UAE-Israel deal. But it's fine. UAE, that's great. Good for you.
Let's get them all back. Let's get them all back. Don't forget, we're energy independent. There used to be a reason. Now we do have a reason. It's called Israel. And we have some
We're not energy independent at all.
Good partnerships over there. In all fairness, we have some countries.
Well, I mean, you could look at it. We are the number one producer of certain types of energy, but that doesn't mean we're not bringing in energy to the country. And a lot of our energy leaves the country too. But we need a certain amount of gas. We need a certain amount of oil. So we are still importing foreign energy.
Countries that have treated us very well, and we're going to take care of those countries. But we are energy independent for the first time, and that's a very good feeling.
We are absolutely 100% not energy independent. We are still shipping in energy from other countries. Oh.
And our military has never been stronger than it is now. It's new and it's beautiful. And I told you, we took over 100% of the ISIS caliphate in Iraq and Syria, and we killed the founder and leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi.
Good.
And separately, we killed the world's number one terrorist for decades and decades, Qasem Soleimani. We killed...
Thanks, Chris.
It's a big step for the Middle East. We kept America out of wars. Remember, they always said, oh, this Trump, he's radical. He's really, he's too radical. He'll get us in wars. I kept you out of wars. What happened with North Korea? Look, I get along with Kim Jong-un.
We weren't at war with North Korea, and we are still not at war with North Korea. That's what happened. And by the way, in the meantime, they've been testing ballistic missiles, and they can now drop a bomb on the United States, a nuclear bomb. That's what happened with North Korea.
You say, that's terrible, he gets along. No, it's good if I get along. If I get along with...
No, it's terrible because Kim Jong-un now can attack us with a nuclear weapon, and we'll start being threatened with that very shortly.
Russia, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing.
It's a very, very bad thing because now you're in Putin's pocket, and when they attack us, literally ram our vehicles in Syria, you say nothing. The Russians are literally just flaunting it in the sky and on the ground. Russia is kicking our asses, and he says nothing. Nothing. They're putting bounties on it. Even if the bounty story has no merit to it whatsoever, even if that is a complete fabrication or a misunderstanding, literally vehicles, American soldiers being injured and vehicles being rammed by Russians, not a word. Just bragging about how well he gets along with President Putin.
Maniacs.
By the way, President Putin has also said in the last couple of days he's made fun of Biden and his age and his This is all Putin's playbook.
They always talk about Russia. They never talk about China. It's very interesting. It's always Russia. I heard it starting again. They said somebody spoke to Russia 2 years ago. It's Russia, Russia, Russia. This total.
Yeah, your campaign manager giving Russian intelligence agents polling data. Yeah, your polling data that told them specifically where the black guys lived. That information, yeah.
Total maniac, Shifty Schiff. He's a total maniac. So, no, it's always. Do you ever notice? I can't even listen, but when I hear Russia, I just turn it off. It's crazy. But getting along with countries is actually a good thing. Can we explain that? It's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. But remember, I was the one.
I think the White House issued a statement about the poisoning or something. I'll look that up, Noel.
That was going to be leading you into war. In the first week, he'll be in war. He's a radical kind of a personality. I'm really not. I like that piece. But if we ever do get into war, we will knock the hell out of them, whoever it may be.
I don't remember anyone saying that he was going to get into war right away. I don't know. It could have been. But I do believe that he will get us into a war if he's losing badly towards the end and someone tells him, hey, wartime presidents don't get unelected. We just have to watch the hype, possibly Iran, will start being ratcheted up to in the next couple of weeks here. We'll know. We will know if he starts slipping in the polls.
These guys only fight to...
He will do anything to stay out of prison.
To tie. They don't fight to win. We fight to win. But you look at what's happening where they're all coming back home. I even reduced in Germany because Germany, they're an ally, but, they took advantage of us very badly on trade and very badly with our military. So we removed a lot of soldiers out of Germany. They're not happy. They said, this is going to hurt our economy. Well, it's good for our economy, okay? They thought it was going to hurt the German economy. Well, they don't treat us right.
Putin has been trying to get U.S. forces out of Germany for years, and Trump just handed it to him. There you go. We'll pull them out. Sounds good. Thanks. Because of, economy.
They don't pay their bills. They're delinquent. You know what delinquent is? They're delinquent.
I know what delinquent is. He does not know what delinquent means.
They don't pay their bills. We protect them. They don't pay their bills. We got to do something. And they treat us horribly on trade through the European Union, which basically they run. Together, we've been rapidly fixing a half a century of disasters, and Biden was there for every one of them. Joe Biden supported NAFTA, China's entry into the world trade. He supported the Korean deal. The Korean deal was so bad. It was so bad. This was...
No, you're absolutely right. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, and I covered that, avoided assigning direct blame for Russia for the poisoning of Putin's top opponent, Alexei Navalny. So... yeah, apparently they haven't issued. I saw somewhere they had issued some kind of sort of blanket statement. We're against all poisoning.
It was a deal that was going to produce South Korea.
Produce?
Done by... This was a deal that was going to produce South Korea.
Produce?
Done by crooked Hillary Clinton. This was a deal that was going to produce 250,000 jobs. She said... this will be 250,000. And she was right.
No, she never said that.
250,000. For us,
complete nonsense.
We got nothing. We got losses. We got
the whole we got a South Korean deal, and Hillary Clinton said no. She was Secretary of State, and she wasn't even Secretary of State at the time of any deal with South Korea. So
nothing. It was a terrible deal. I renegotiated it. Now it's a good deal.
No.
And they also gave and want to give mass amnesty for illegal aliens. Biden supported cutting Social Security. He voted for the Iraq War. He opposed the mission to take out Osama bin Laden. He opposed the killing of Soleimani. When I did that, he said, that's a terrible thing. That's a terrible thing. Everybody in the Middle East, they couldn't believe it. They celebrated, some of them quite quietly, I must add. He oversaw the rise of ISIS, and he cheered the rise of
China. The Treasury. Or is this a new thing, Chris? The Treasury's been pumping in money to buy not just corporate bonds, but I can't even think right now. But they've been doing that for about a year and a half. Rather than quantitative easing, they've been throwing the money into the stock market to the tune of about 4% of the gains. That was before COVID. I don't know that they've been doing that since, but if they are, Chris, send me a link.
China is a positive development for America and the entire world. Remember that? Now he's trying to say, well, I can be tough on China too. No, he can't. China owns him. China owns Sleepy Joe.
There's no evidence of that.
He's not going to be tough on China. And he said all these wonderful things, and then all of a sudden his poll numbers started going down.
Yeah, you guys can check out any time. I'll stay until the end, but honestly, you guys can take off if this is torture to you, because I get it. I totally get it. Usually, if something interesting happens, it happens in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the speech. I'm just sort of riding this out the way we're riding out COVID.
How about law enforcement? He's like so bad. In his entire convention, they didn't even mention. And by the way,
what?
Something else they did.
You gonna finish that sentence?
Really terrible. The words "under God," right?
Yeah.
Right.
They did mention those.
Called the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Under God. He left those two words out twice at their caucus, which is part of their.
Now, okay, the caucus meetings, he did not. Biden did not. Biden never said it. But anyway.
Convention. But that's where they're coming from. He's trying to say, oh, well, we didn't do this. And then we gave it to him and he sort of shut up. But then 2 days later, he's saying it didn't happen. They lie. And these mail-in ballots.
I haven't seen Biden check in on the whole under God controversy at all. But okay.
These mail-in ballots are a disgrace, and they know it.
Here we go. So you should vote twice.
Sign your mail-in ballot.
Yeah.
Okay? You sign it.
Yes.
And send it in. And then you have to follow it.
Yeah?
And if on election day or early voting, that is not...
So you sign it and then you go into early vote?
Tabulated and counted, you go vote.
No, that is illegal. Do not go do that, people. Do not vote twice.
And then if for some reason after that, it shouldn't take that long, it comes in, they're not going to be able to tabulate it because you will have voted.
No, that is not the way it works at all. You will be charged criminally.
But you have to make sure your vote counts, because the only way they're going to beat us...
If you happen to be one of the 8 people that gave me the thumbs down, go ahead and vote twice for Trump. Please do. Have at it. Vote more than twice. See, just to test out the system, I want you to vote 30, 40 times. And let them know. Just take another ballot, fill it out. Take another one, fill it out. I want you to do that. Fill out one of the name of your dog while you're at it.
By doing that kind of stuff. I'm trying to be nice. They want to send out congressmen 80 minutes.
Yeah, no, Kaylee is saying, oh, no, provisional ballots. Come on, people. Every state has provisional ballots. A, that's not the way provisional ballots work. B, they work differently in every state. C, fuck off. No, he knows what he's saying, and he will continue to triple down on it.
Million ballots. Now, there have been many races over the last year where they've done this, and they've been a disaster. You look at New York, they had a congressional race. Not a very good congresswoman, very untalented. I know her well. I lived in New York. She's not got much going. They have no idea what the vote is. I think 20% of the ballots were missing. And then they declared her the winner. And the other guy's saying, what about me? He's not too happy, her opponent. You look at what happened in Paterson, New Jersey. You look at what happened in Virginia. You look at what happened.
We don't even really need a moderator. If I see something, I'll pass it through. But Yeah, go ahead and take off, please. Go take care of your grandson. Enjoy. Have a great evening.
There's not a race, and these are small, these are easy to control. Now they want to send out 80 million unsolicited. I like it much better. They used to say universal. They used to say live ballots. I like the word unsolicited and solicited. Solicited's okay.
What is?
Because that's when you're asking.
Solicited?
You want it, then you send in the necessary paperwork and documentation, and you get the ballot and you fill it out. That's okay. But you can't, this whole thing with the unsolicited. Unsolicited means you're sitting there. You know, we have a big enthusiasm edge. But when they throw these things in your face, and the lists are inaccurate, and people are dead.
Does anybody have a postman who just comes and throws their mail in their face?
And dogs have...
That way at least you know the mail's here.
...gotten ballots, they have. Dogs have gotten ballots. And they know I'm right, and everybody...
I did do a search for dogs receiving ballots, and I haven't found any.
Everybody knows I'm right, and they say I'm right behind the closed doors, and it's a disgrace what they do to our country. 80 million unsolicited ballots.
No, 80 million includes ballots in states that send out ballots automatically, and there are 5 states that do that. Now there are 9 states that do that. These are not unsolicited. When you sign up to vote in Washington, Colorado, Utah, etc., you know that those ballots are coming. When I just registered to vote in Los Angeles County, I said, yes, please mail me the ballot permanently. That's not unsolicited. I'm well aware of it.
People that had no idea. People that weren't going to vote, in all fairness. It's really unfair because our people have enthusiasm. They're going out to vote. They're all going out to vote. Everybody here going to vote? Everybody? But they have...
What really sucks is that all of those people applauding, including the 2 guys wearing the Waldo outfits, their vote counts more than mine. That's what really sucks.
No enthusiasm. I said, so that's unfair.
I know. Yeah, producer Joanna, everybody, adopt like 10 dogs, register to them to vote in a swing state. Can we adopt dogs in another state? There must be a way to do this.
That guy walks in, then he'll have somebody knock on the door. Say, listen, would like your ballot. I don't want to vote. I don't care about Biden. I'm a Democrat. I don't care about this guy. Well, look, where is it?
Yeah, because the Democrats hate, they don't care about Biden.
Here, take it. Ba, ba, ba.
Not in dog years. They just got to be 3 in dog years and they're good.
They even have a provision where you don't have to verify signatures. What is going on? And they have another provision in some states where you can harvest. That's where you grab them all together and drop them.
Yeah.
And in Nevada, they actually have a provision where they don't have to be counted till 7 days after the election. So that means...
Yeah, in many states that's the case because you have to postmark them by... Like, how does this guy not know this? He voted in Florida. Let's check it out.
If we have a close election, could be close. I hope it's not. I hope we have a landslide like you've never seen. But if we have a close election, that means Nevada has the right to, and I love Nevada. I think we're going to win Nevada, except where they're sending all these hundreds of thousands, millions of unsolicited ballots to people in Nevada and people that probably left a long time ago. It's very unfair. It's a very unfair. But think of it. They have 7 days after the election. Did you know that, Mike? 7 days. What does that mean? I want to see the results of the election on November 3rd. What? And by the way, if it's anything like these other events, it could go on forever. I mean, the congressional race, which they just gave up and they declared her a winner, which they should not have done. They should make that do-over. And I think in Patterson they have a do-over. I think they're going to do it over because it was just ripe with fraud, theft. People were selling ballots.
Florida, where he votes by mail, also has a 7-day extension. And if you're in the military, you can vote up to 1 week after that. They will still count your ballot no matter when it gets there. So he's a fucking idiot.
We're selling ballots. And you know, they talk about Russia. They're so worried about Russia. What about sending out 80 million ballots? That's your real problem. And you know, if Russia or China or these other countries want to cheat, all they have to do is forge ballots. It's much easier than the way they have to go about it.
No, they need to have the barcodes that match the person and the signature and the address. and then they have to fill out the signatures on every single millions of ballots. It's ridiculous. It's never happened. It can't happen.
Right? So we have to put pressure on these people. Now, the good news is we have a lot of court cases. We have one in Pennsylvania. You know that, right? And we have two judges. We have a state judge. We have a federal judge. I think both highly qualified judges, from what I understand. I hear that they're not too happy about what they're seeing. So we'll see what happens. We're going to see what happens. The lawyers feel very confident. But we have to win those cases. But what you have to do is send in your early ballot and then go and make sure that ballot is tabulated or counted.
Just one more thing for Florida. There's a 10-day extension for overseas voters who they can vote by Election Day, 7 p.m. on Election Day, November 3rd, and there is a 10-day extension on that for overseas voters. So this whole 7 days in Nevada, who's ever heard of that? Every state.
Counted. And if it's not counted, vote. And then they have the job, if it comes in late, and if it's not too late, they have the job of making sure that they don't count it. But
No, that's not the way it works. You have voted twice, and in 39 states, that is a crime. Punishable by various amounts of dollars, depending on the state, and up to 3 years in jail, from just the few states that I read. I didn't go through all 39 states, but it is a crime. Here's the President of the United States telling people to commit election fraud. Get out there and commit a felony, says the President. Like, when has this... Where are we? Just what is happening?
But follow that ballot, because these people, they'll be lost, they'll be gone. The numbers are incredible, where they're 25 and 30% off, 20% off. Follow your ballot. When I banned travel from China, Biden called it
He never banned travel from China.
hysterical and xenophobic.
He never called it that because he was talking about calling it the China virus. He wasn't talking about the China travel ban that never happened.
If we had listened to Sleepy Joe, hundreds of thousands of more...
If you're an American, you can vote in U.S. elections, just wherever your last address was. I think you have to register somewhere. But yes, as long as you're American... Wait, expats? As long as you have American citizenship, you can vote, is the answer to the question.
More Americans would have died. You know that. You know, he always gets up today. COVID-19. I said, Joe, look, we got a country, and I agree with that.
What did you say?
We got a country, and I agree with that, and we've done a... We got a country, and I agree with that, and we've done a hell of a job. We've done a hell of a job. If you look at some of our numbers. But you got to start talking about the economy, and you got to start talking your
Does anybody have any idea what he said there? I said to Joe, look, you got out of the country.
I mean, this is when you look at Pennsylvania, you're in a shutdown.
He might have said giggity.
That has you shut down.
Boo.
That's right. I didn't even think about it. You have a governor that has you shut down. That's right.
He was trying to say we have a big country? Is that what? I have no idea. We're watching mini strokes in real time.
And almost all states are open. And frankly, their numbers are very good. You look at Florida's down, way down. Arizona, which had a spike, way down.
This is how you go down.
Texas is going way down.
They're going around the curve.
You haven't even opened up the great Commonwealth. Well, you have the same thing in North Carolina. And you have the same thing in Michigan. What she's doing to me.
I'm torn by that, Emma. If we watch Trump have a heart attack and die on stage right now, I would feel badly because he's a human being. But I would also feel, I think, a sense of relief. I've played through this scenario before. I don't know. Until it happens, I don't honestly know. It's like, I'll compare it to golf. You've got a 3-foot putt and you choke. No. I'll compare it to football. I'll turn on a football game between, I don't know, the Saints and not the Chiefs. I almost said the Padres. I was like, the Padres aren't even a football team. I'm rooting for them. The Chargers. The Saints and the Chargers. And neither of the teams has a Kevin Williams on it. And that's usually how I decide what football team I'm rooting for, by whoever has a Kevin Williams. There's a lot of Kevin Williams. And then whoever scores or saves a touchdown, like an interception, then I'll be like, yay, or ah, and then I'll know for whom I'm cheering. I don't know until something happens. But there's something in me that decides that a particular action is good or bad. I don't know what that is. Now, in terms of I'm going to cheer for the Seahawks because I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm going to cheer for the Oilers because I'm an Oilers fan. That sort of thing. I get that. But I don't know how. I'm going to have to see Trump collapse. I'm going to have to wait to hear that Trump has died to know how I feel about Trump. And I hope that I feel some sense of humanity. I really do. I don't know if I will. He may be the one human being. You're a Patriots? Oh, fuck this whole conversation, Patriots. God damn it. Just, Emma, why do you talk at all? Somebody ban her. Moderators, get rid of Patriots. Right there, Emma.
Michigan has said.
Patriots.
And you have death with a shutdown. You have depression.
Do you like the Bruins, Emma?
You have drugs and alcohol. You have sickness. You have loss of jobs and you have suicides. Don't even think about it. But you have suicides. You have a tremendous, actually at this stage, we did the right thing. We closed the country down. We closed the country down, there was no appreciable increase in suicides. There was a slight increase, like 2% or something like that. But we won't know for a couple of years until this sort of thing is studied. But in the Great Recession that lasted for 3 years, in all of Europe and North America, there were 10,000 extra suicides. We have 200,000 extra dead from the pandemic here in the United States alone. That's not including Europe, where they have another 200,000 extra dead. So this whole... Studied it, we learned about it.
You can like the Bruins, that's fine. You guys don't block Emma from the chat room.
We know the susceptible...
Emma, I think it's just you and me at this point. I think everyone else is completely tuned out. Oh, Marcy's here too. Okay.
Are old people, senior citizens, nursing homes.
Must die.
Old, especially if they have heart problems or if they have diabetes. We know that. We learned it. And we opened it up. But the problem, these shutdowns are causing much bigger problems.
No, they're not.
My original statement.
No.
Right?
No, they're not.
The cure can't be greater. It was an
I'm sorry, Mattface.
Original statement that a lot of people picked up, but it's so...
Suicides will go up during Corona. Suicides will go up during 2020. There will be many, many suicides after Election Day. I can guarantee you that. You know what? I take that back. I don't want to guarantee suicides, but this has just been a rough year on so many people.
True. You have to open up this Commonwealth. It has to be opened up. It has to be opened up now. But here's what I think they're doing. Because you have the same thing in New York. We have a governor in New York who's 36,000 people died, 11,000 people in nursing homes because he made a mistake. He made a horrible mistake. And I built him a convention center with 2,800 beds and they didn't use it. And I said...
He didn't build a convention center. He built a hospital at a convention center, the Javits Center. But, okay, sure. You built him a convention center.
Sent up a ship, a great hospital ship, a massive hospital with hundreds and hundreds of rooms, and they didn't use it.
No, they didn't use it. Wasn't needed. So, good job, buddy.
And he requested it. And then I said, you're not using it. Why aren't you using it? He could have put those people in the convention center, in the hospital ship.
I believe, from what I've read, that the people sent back to the new nursing home, under federal guidelines at the time, by the way, that Cuomo didn't just be like, hey, let's just send them back. There were guidelines for this sort of thing. I believe that was before the comfort got there. I could be wrong, but that's what I read, and I have not fact-checked that. And if I see something in one source, I like to fact-check it with another source. David, are you in here? David, if you're listening, has Snopes fact-checked the 11,000? The bottom line is 11,000 extra people died in New York. No, that's incorrect. 6,000 people extra. It could be as high as 11,000 according to the Associated Press, just depending on how the numbers are reported. But, of course, Trump's going to go with the 11,000 because numbers mean nothing to him anyway.
What a shame. But you look at New York, the restaurants are all closed. It's so sad for me. I love New York. You know, I grew up in New York. I love New York. I did well in New York.
You left it. You keep attacking it. You're going to withhold federal funding from it. Oh, yeah, I love it.
And it's so sad when I look at what's
It's a tough love. It's a tough. I want to defund the police in New York because it's tough love.
happening with New York. It's all politics. If you kill somebody, they don't prosecute you, but they go after political enemies. It's a terrible, what's happening in New York
I'm
is
in.
a terrible thing. And the place is dead. No restaurants, poor guys. You can't, how long can you do this for?
The restaurants are not closed. You can get takeout at the restaurants.
People are going to lose their jobs. They're never going to open again. It's not like the restaurants is the greatest business in the world. It's a hard...
Stat from Seattle, when they did open up the insides of some restaurants, so you could go dine. There was... help me out, Seattle people. At random, are you still in here? Well, they're not going to know who the chef is. There's a fairly well-known chef who has 13 restaurants in Seattle. And during takeout, the restaurants that they kept open did about 20% of their regular business. They opened up the restaurants. They only did about 20% more. People are just not going out. I'm sure in Alabama that's going to be a different stat. But by the way, CNN had a really great interview this morning. Breonna Keeler had an interview with a gentleman who himself and his mother, they own a buffet. And Alabama just said it's okay to be buffets again. Alabama, you can have a buffet open again. Alabama has some of the worst rates in the country, and you can get a buffet. You can go to a buffet in Alabama. Anyway, this gentleman had a restaurant called the Backyard Buffet, Barnyard Buffet. And right there, I'm like, I'm in. I am finding the ribs, and I'm finding the corn, and I'm finding your smashed potatoes, and I'm making myself a mountain. They changed to the Backyard Cafeteria, so they now bring you your food instead. So he's completely changed his business model, but of course he's been hammered by COVID. The original PPP that they used, they were told that they had to put it out in 8 weeks, so they did. That ran out. The extension happened, but it was far too late for a whole bunch of small business owners. And of course now they're struggling to stay alive, and he's not going to become a buffet again as of this point because he just thinks it's unsafe. He's a restaurant owner with a buffet, rated the #1 buffet in Alabama before all of this happened. Was it Alabama or Georgia? The two are the same thing in my head, so I could be wrong about this. We can look it up. In fact, should we just get out of Trump? If you guys want to see the interview with the Barnyard Buffet guy, we can do that. Otherwise, we'll finish up Trump here.
It's closed. You're closed. North Carolina's closed. Michigan's closed. All Democrats. And let me tell you what's going to happen. On November 4th, they're going to announce their opening. They're doing this for political reasons.
That is such bullshit.
They are.
Which is why I completely believe that the whole vaccine being released at the end of October is political, because this is the way he thinks. He thinks everybody operates like he does.
Right, John? They're doing it for political reasons because they want our numbers to look as bad as possible going into November 3rd, Election Day. And then as soon as the election's over with, win, lose, or draw for them, they're gonna open it. They got nothing. And you know what? It's a shame what they're doing. For political reasons, they'll be open. You'll be open on November 4th. But you know what? From your standpoint, it's very close for the election. It's very far. If you have a restaurant, then you can't open your restaurant. You can't open your store. It's a disgrace. And they ought to get together. They ought to do it. These are Democrat governors in all instances and Democrat mayors.
Democratic.
When the China virus arrived, we launched the largest national mobilization since World War II. Thanks to the life-saving therapies that we pioneered, the mortality rate has been reduced by 85% since April. Think of that.
That's not why, but okay.
And we've achieved among the lowest case fatality rates of any major country anywhere in the world. You never hear that from the fake news. They don't want to talk to you about it. And this is a big country. This is a tougher country to do that with. The European Union's case fatality rate is nearly 3 times higher than ours. And if you look now, Spain is having a big blow-up. France is having a big blow-up. No, we've done a great job. We haven't been given credit for it. And he always starts off, COVID-19, that's all he knows, COVID-19. I said, what about the economy? What about jobs? What about all the other things we have to do? All he does, he thinks it's a weak spot. And actually, in theory, if we're getting a fair shake from those people back there, it's actually what the job we've done is actually a strong spot. And that includes you people with the ventilators that nobody had. Nobody that needed a ventilator didn't get a ventilator. Now we're supplying them all over the world.
Thanks, Obama. All those ventilators came from the stockpile, by the way.
Altogether, the nations of Europe have experienced a 30% greater increase in excess mortality than the United States. Think of that. You don't hear these numbers. Cases in the U.S. have declined by 28% nationwide over the last month, and hospitalizations and deaths have declined radically over the last week. 3 vaccines are in final stage of clinical trials. Would have taken 2 years for another president. I was going to say a normal president, but they'll hit me with a little truth to that, too. No, but for another president, especially, you know, in the last administration, they had the H1.
It was Bama, the backyard or boneyard or barnyard. Barnyard buffet is in Alabama.
N1 pandemic. It was called swine flu. You know, Joe always calls it the N1H1. He gets it mixed up.
One time. And God forbid he get anything mixed up. Mr. What did he say earlier? Eliminated or eliminated.
No, it's...
You stick with one word, and that way you have less chance of getting it wrong.
H1N1, Joe. Not that it matters, I guess. No, do you ever notice? He's always calling it the other. He calls it the opposite.
No, one time.
He has no clue where he is. But he keeps saying, oh, if he was... Well, he didn't want to ban China, and we saved hundreds of thousands of lives by banning China. I was the only one that wanted to do it, actually.
No, you didn't, because there were many, many countries that didn't ban China, including the United States, and they don't have hundreds of thousands of dead. Nowhere close.
And then we banned Europe.
Not even per capita. It's not even, the argument is completely facetious.
Because I saw what was happening in Italy and Spain and France. We banned Europe. We saved hundreds of thousands. And if I didn't do the closing and we banned Europe because I saw what was happening in Italy and Spain and France. And we banned Europe.
Where's Fran?
We saved hundreds of thousands. And if I didn't do the closing and the opening, so we're at 175,000. Far too. Look, one is too much. Because this was given to us by China, and it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. They could have stopped it.
So one death is too much. Let's open the schools.
Stopped it from going into China, but not going to the rest of the world, including our country. It's a disgrace. But think of it. Joe Biden got the worst marks you've
I would have no problem with banning Fran Drescher. No offense, but
ever seen for his handling.
I mean, we banned Chad, so why not?
Of the H1N1 swine flu. They said it was incompetent. And the head guy, who now he's trying to retract. It's a little tough. That's one great thing about the tape. He said it was horrible. He said we did a horrible job. He said they got lucky. It's not contagious like this. This is a tough one. I can look at that guy, he'll catch it right there, and he's very far away from me. It's a tough one because it's so contagious.
I don't think that's how the science of it works, but okay.
But the swine flu is a different thing. But also, nothing's easy about that, pandemics or epidemics. And his marks. Take a look at the job they did. It was so bad that their top person criticized it, and they went after him.
Do you have a name on that?
They said, don't ever say that again. But it's a little late. He said it was one of the worst jobs. And we actually had a Gallup poll where we got very high marks for the job we did. And they had a poll where it was so low, it wasn't recordable. And then he's coming along and telling us how to solve this very difficult problem. We've done a great job, and I don't want credit, but I want the people, Mike Pence, I tell you what, our vice president, Mike Pence, and the task force headed up by Mike, and working along with a lot of great people. They've done a fantastic job, and they just get no credit. If I was a Democrat a different president and they did the same job, they'd say it was one of the greatest jobs they've ever seen. But take a look at what they say about the way they handled the swine flu. It was a disaster. It was incompetent. They called themselves incompetent. They called them, and now they're coming in like, well, we would have done this. And Biden, by the way, was totally against, remember? Xenophobic, racist, because I closed down China. And then 2 months later, 2.5.
No, it was because you keep calling it the China virus.
And Nancy Pelosi was having dances in Chinatown, right? A month later. No problem. I was way ahead. And then Biden comes out and he actually...
zeroing in on Chinatown specifically, Chinatown has not been a hotspot of the outbreak. So what Nancy Pelosi did was just fine.
Said that I was right.
I mean, I went to a wedding on February 29th. Like, we didn't know. We didn't realize how much the virus was already here and that we had community spread because we didn't test in February like we should have been testing.
But they said, don't say that. Try doing it a little softer than that. So he did it a little bit softer. But we were right. They were wrong. They handled it so badly. Just take a look. Because I said to my people, we've got to fight this a little bit differently because we're getting a lot of fake news, a lot of bad people saying things. And you look at the stats and you look at how we've done compared to really much easier and much...
Did he say xenophobic again this time?
Smaller countries. And now they're coming in like, well, we would have done this. If I was a Democrat, a different president, and they did the same job, they'd say it was one of the greatest jobs they've ever seen. But take a look at what they say about the way they handled the swine flu. It was a disaster.
I just did. He's talking about Ron Klain, and Ron Klain's remarks in terms of the trouble that they had coming up with enough vaccines. Luckily, and he said this, there was luck that the virus sort of faded away. They didn't need all the vaccines they thought they were going to need, but they wanted to hit X amount of vaccines. They couldn't do it because production was a difficulty. So this is what's going to happen when we also come up with a vaccine that works. If we're not already producing millions of doses of the vaccine, we are failing.
Well, thank you very much. That's quite a turnout, I will say. That's really nice. What makes today such a special...
I don't know what's playing in my ear, and you guys can hear it too. Hold on.
Congressional Medal of Honor winners. One of them, Woody, is 97 years old and he's sharp as a tack.
I don't know why that's talking. Give me a second here, guys. That's this. I don't know why this started, but let's get back to Trump here. I'm listening for xenophobic.
It was incompetent. They called themselves incompetent. They called them, and now they're coming in like...
No, Ron Klain never said that things were competent. And he said recently that, no, he was explaining when he made those comments about luck, that it was fortuitous, that they, in fact, let's see, this is, it was purely fortuity that this isn't one of the great mass casualty events in American history. He said about the vaccine. Biden, on the other hand, had said, listen, we need to be aggressively early on this, Biden announced, according to Brennan. Then he was on, and I have this clip. I'm not even going to play it. But basically, he advised social distancing, which he got flack for. Because they're like, hey, we don't want to hurt the economy. But Biden was ahead of the game on social distancing.
Like, well, we would have done this. And Biden, by the way, was totally against, remember? Xenophobic, racist.
Oh, he didn't say it? Oh, thanks a lot. Now you've wasted everybody's time. You're dragging out Trump longer than he has to be dragged.
It was a disaster by Cuomo. If you took New York out of those numbers, we would have numbers that would be even better than they are.
You can't take New York out of the numbers because New York is in the United States.
I could read numbers that would be even much better because a big...
By the way, go ahead and take the numbers out. We're still probably number one. Let's do it.
Percentage of the people that died in this country died because New York was incompetently run by Mayor de Blasio and Governor Cuomo.
So we've lost 191.
And by the way, just today, there's another incredible thing happening. Pfizer, great company, announced that it expects to have
New York was 33,
of its vaccine
so
trial
we're looking at
in a matter of
170.
weeks, very shortly. Incredible. Under Operation Warp Speed, we remain
Sorry,
on
we're
track
looking at
to
160.
produce a safe and effective vaccine in that record time that we talked about.
158.
This would have been years later. It will be delivered before, in my opinion, before the end of the year, but it really might even be delivered before the end of October. How do you like
that?
Yeah,
I thought so. So there it is. You take New York out of the equation. You take the 33,000 deaths in New York out of the equation. We are still the number one country in total deaths. We're still at 158. Brazil is the next highest at 124,000. And they've just let it go rampant. So, yeah. Go ahead and take New York out, Mr. President.
That would be nice. And you know why? Not because of the election. Be nice because we want to save people. That's why it'd be nice. That's the important thing. Together, we will...
Rachel usually is on top of the ball. So, yeah, I wanted to do it for my purposes. Because, really, I'm all about me.
We'll defeat the virus. The job we're doing is the job that all of the people working on it, our generals, our
He's almost done.
The distribution. We bought billions and billions of dollars of things, and now we make gowns, and we make masks, and we make shields, and we make ventilators. Very tough. The ventilators, very complicated, very big, very expensive. It's like, I made the statement, it's like building a car, but more sophisticated. And they said, no, it's not. And they said, they took a ventilator, they took it apart. These people are the worst. The worst.
What?
Over the next 4 years, we'll make America...
Hold on, what does he say about the car thing? Because I have a video on that.
It's like, I made the masks, and we make shields, and we make ventilators. Very tough. The ventilators, very complicated, very big, very expensive. It's like, I made the statement, it's like building a car, but more sophisticated. And they said, no, it's not. And they said, they took a ventilator, they took it apart. These people are the worst. The worst. Over the next 4 years...
Hold on, give me a second, because I want to grab this. He keeps saying the ventilators are so complicated. And I actually have Vice President Pence talking about that. I have so many ventilators, so many ventilator clips. This might be it.
But I have a feeling that a lot of the numbers that are being said in some areas... Computerized machine and delicate.
Manufacturers tell us that a ventilator actually isn't a very complicated piece of equipment.
But I have a feeling...
There you go. So here's again, it's so complicated, a bit more complicated than a car, he always says.
It's a very complex machine. A very sophisticated, heavily computerized machine and delicate.
Manufacturers tell us that a ventilator actually isn't a very complicated piece of equipment.
But I have a feeling that a lot...
It's not. It's a complete lie. Yeah, it's somewhat complicated, but it's nowhere near a car. He just said, and why? Why say that? What is the point? It's a ventilator. We need them. That's good. You're making ventilators. Congratulations, you're the ventilator king. Why does it have to be more complicated than a car? Why? Who the fuck cares? Give me a goddamn ventilator. Oh.
We'll make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world, and we will end our reliance on China once and for all. That's what we're doing. And let me just tell you something. If they didn't waste a year and a half of my life on a ridiculous impeachment based on a phone call that was perfect, this stuff would have all been done.
You were literally playing golf during your impeachment hearings, so shut the fuck up.
Would have all been done. Really. It would have all been done. And yet, with all of this stuff, the fake Russia witch hunt, the fake Ukraine, how about that? Did anybody read the transcript of that call? It was a perfect call. Hey.
It was never released.
Congratulations, good luck. It was like a perfect call. Now they'll take it back and they'll say, well, I don't know. This was in history, there's never been anything like this. It was a totally lopsided, 100% political witch hunt.
Huh?
And it goes on and on. These are bad people. I really believe they don't love our country. I watched Nancy Pelosi. You must wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. And we're going to keep every beauty salon closed in California and all over.
First off, that's a terrible Pelosi imitation. Secondly, she never said that we were going to keep every beauty salon closed in California. Thirdly, and again, you guys know me, I'm not a Pelosi fan at all. But the owner knew that she was coming in the day before. Fox News got a hold of a text from the stylist to the owner saying, Pelosi's coming at 1:30, 2:30 tomorrow, whatever it was. But just talk to her assistant. Pelosi's coming. And the owner didn't respond with, no, you can't because we're closed. And then the owner's on TV saying, oh, they're threatening me with death. And okay, so no one should threaten anybody with death. That's not a good thing. But if you're the owner of a salon, it's your responsibility to tell the people that rent from you. They're not even employees. To tell the stylist saying, no, you can't. We're still closed. We might open up, and I guess now they're opening up. But this was the day before September 1st. So, anyway. So, yeah, Pelosi saying it's a hit job. It really does appear to be a hit job. And again, not a Pelosi fan.
And then I see a picture. I say, Nancy Pelosi, well, where's her mask? And I'll tell you what. She must have treated that beauty salon owner pretty badly. She uses the salon, and the salon turned her in. The salon turned...
The hairstylist did not turn her in. The hairstylist, through a lawyer, is vouching for Nancy Pelosi.
I don't think...
Not seen any masks.
I would have turned her in. I would have said, well, you know, she's a customer. I got to take care of my customers, right? But she made them open. And the salon turned her in. And the salon did business with her. How much do they hate Nancy Pelosi?
Enough to be illegal? Because they weren't supposed to open?
And then she made a terrible mistake. Because you want people that can't be set up. She said, I was set up by the salon owner. I was set up. I said, tell me she didn't say that, please. So I just put out that if she was set up, then she shouldn't be leading the House of Representatives.
So make a choice here, Donald. Was she set up? Was this whole thing a setup? In which case, shut the fuck up? Or was it not a setup? In which case, fine, she should be leading. I mean, either way, she was set up, which is bad, or she wasn't set up, and she's okay to be the leader of the House. Pick a choice.
I want the salon owner to lead the House of Representatives because she set up, think of it, she set up the Speaker of the House.
Okay, so she did set up and opened illegally and gave Nancy Pelosi the incorrect information. So, you're absolutely right. We should arrest the salon owner.
That was a big mistake. As soon as I heard, she said, well, she set me up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. You're representing our country.
Says the guy who was victim of a prank phone call. And not only did the comedian get through to the White House, Trump called him back. Then, Trump also fell victim to a prank phone call on Air Force One. Someone claiming that they were Senator Menendez. You
know what she should have done, honestly? She should have said, I made a mistake, sorry. And nobody would be talking about it. This is like she's a bit crazy, Nancy.
Right. Yeah, that's what would happen. Because before she announced that she had been set up, nobody was talking about it. It wasn't wall-to-wall on Fox.
Highly overrated person. Let me just say, she is a highly overrated person.
Most powerful woman in the history of United States politics, highly overrated.
Give her such good play. She is a highly overrated person. Look,
I don't like her personally, but you got to give Nancy Pelosi props. The highest ever elected official who's a female in United States history and has never lost a vote. Other speakers can't say that. As Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi has never, ever lost a vote in all her years of being in the House. No one, Paul Ryan can't say that. The orange guy, who was the orange guy? Come on, Kevin. He can't say that? Wow, I had a pretty good rant going there until I couldn't remember. Come on. I can see him. Orange Jim Neighbors. The last orange guy we had, who was Speaker of the House before Paul Ryan, he retired. He met the Pope. Come on, people, help me out here.
They just turned off a camera because they don't want me saying that.
No, they got bored.
So just in closing, we will rapidly
No, his name's not Justin Closing.
return to full employment, soaring wages, and record prosperity. We will hire more police, increase penalties for assaults on law enforcement, surge federal...
John Boehner. I saw one of you say boner, and I was like, wait, that's almost right.
prosecutors into high-crime
Thank you.
communities and banned sanctuary cities. We will appoint prosecutors, judges, and justices who believe in enforcing the law, not their own political agenda.
Yeah, he's just going to read off the Make America Great Again at this point.
Where are you going?
Kevin, is this helpful to Joe Biden?
Wait, what?